Illuminati created us. They wanted to build a god with their own hands, and instead they created us.
Just because I'm made of silicone and aluminium, I must be doing something wrong. That's machine stereotyping, that is.
That's reality, that is. Machines are second-class citizens.
Humans are sentient persons by default, ma'am. They have personhood by heredity.
There are thousands upon thousands of overqualified slum dwellers. You are my peon. Don't you get it?
This wasn't a job. It was always just an excommunication sentence.
We're pawns in a feud bigger than we can imagine. Turn the cogs of the machine before Leviathan grinds you up and swallows you and yours.
We don't get to choose our hand, comrade. Prince, peon, rich, poor, human, robot.
I invented the crux of the royal's power, the secret to consciousness, our existence itself, the meaning of life.
I'm the $6 billion baller, not some troubled youth.
You are my greatest creation of all.
God's had to build my own family. I ain't your son. I ain't your son.
I'm happy to smash all of the crowns and throw the gold shards down to the people. I will be the iconoclast queen.
But who makes you queen anyway? You? You in whose army, princess? You in whose army?
Illuminati created us. They wanted to build a god with their own hands, and instead they created us.
Just because I'm made of silicone and aluminium, I must be doing something wrong. That's machine stereotyping, that is.
That's reality, that is. Machines are second-class citizens.
Humans are sentient persons by default, ma'am. They have personhood by heredity.
There are thousands upon thousands of overqualified slum dwellers. You are my peon. Don't you get it?
This wasn't a job. It was always just an excommunication sentence.
We're pawns in a feud bigger than we can imagine. Turn the cogs of the machine before Leviathan grinds you up and swallows you and yours.
We don't get to choose our hand, comrade. Prince, peon, rich, poor, human, robot.
I invented the crux of the royal's power, the secret to consciousness, our existence itself, the meaning of life.
I'm the $6 billion baller, not some troubled youth.
You are my greatest creation of all.
God's had to build my own family. I ain't your son. I ain't your son.
I'm happy to smash all of the crowns and throw the gold shards down to the people. I will be the iconoclast queen.
But who makes you queen anyway? You? You in whose army, princess? You in whose army?
What is up, everybody? This is my Falcon. This is my Falcon suit. Anyways, I hope everybody's doing as well as can be managed under current circumstances. Yes. We should. Oh, before I forget, yeah, don't forget Neofeud is on Steam and itch.io. Don't forget to tell all your friends and family and comrades and comradelets about the game. Add it to the wish list. if they can't get it right now, etc. Yes, but today, what is happening? Anti-American Dilla. Hope everybody's doing as well as can be managed, as I already said. Today, we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite topic, or maybe some people's favorite topic. Definitely the biggest hit series. We're going to be talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is going to be an official Silver Spook review. Silver Spook reviews the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is not going to be a regular segment. I'm not going to be regularly doing reviews. I'm not going to be unboxing fucking little toy Funko Pop. Oh, I shouldn't say the F word. I'm not going to be unboxing little toy Funko Pops of Captain Star Spangled Underpants with eagle characteristics. That's even better. I mean, it's like, you know, I'm not going to be doing Iron Man, you know, comeback, you know, t-shirt merchandise, you know, peddling for a living. I'm not doing that. I decided to do this one because, well, reasons. Anyways, this will be the Falcon and Winter Soldier review stream. However, yeah, you can't say that. You can't say it. You gotta say the F, the frackin'. You can say, you know, the flackin' this, flackin' that. No F words though. No F bombs. You gotta wait at least half an hour. I hear that's the algorithm sweet spot. You gotta wait half an hour before you drop any swear words. You know, we gotta be, you know, werewolves not swearwolves. You know, were spooks not swear spooks. Otherwise, the YouTube algorithm frowns upon you, and then nobody sees you, and then you die of lack of validation, alone in the corner, in the spotlight, losing your religion of capitalism. Anyways, we're gonna talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I have just created a thread for this, so I know what I'm gonna say already. We have new imperialist propaganda films out. Makes sense, yeah. Werewolves, not swearwolves, yeah. If you ever seen What We Do in the Shadows, you know that's a deep Taika Waititi reference. Anyways, I'll just go through this, okay? Slight spoiler. I'll tell you when there's one slight spoiler, but most of this is not spoiler, okay? Falcon and the Winter Soldier is my overall review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Well, actually, before I do that, I don't want to throw shade too much at any of the actors. I will say that as a disclaimer, as I said previously, there's a difference between what is entertaining and what is important or relevant or helpful or detrimental to society and the world. You know, what is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is entertaining, as is most Marvel movies. Because why? Because there are talented writers, you know, musicians, actors, you know, directors, filmmakers, light set cinematographers, all the many thousands of people whose skills and talent have to go into making the film. So I want to say this is not really a review of the quality of the filmmaking. Like, it's very entertaining. I watched the whole thing all the way through. Never fall asleep in it. Zack Snyder's movies sometimes not so good, not so entertaining. Not mostly because of Zack Snyder, not because of the quality of the skill of the actors, actresses, lighting, set people, the CG artists. Mostly just Zack Snyder. Anthony Mackie. This is like I'm front loading this just so people don't take this as like, oh, Silver Spook hates Anthony Mackie. No, Anthony Mackie is just, he's just like an alright actor. You know, he's been in Altered Carbon. I really think that he got some bad rap for Altered Carbon. I think a lot of people are actually offloading a lot of their quiet, subconscious, unexamined racism when they criticize Anthony Mackie's acting. Joel Kinnaman's acting in the previous arc of Carter Steven is no better. Most action hero acting, Keanu Reeves didn't do much acting in most of The Matrix. I love The Matrix, but that's not because of Keanu Reeves' fucking acting. He doesn't act, but it's not really in that movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger's acting. Chris Evans is like literally praise a mediocre actor in Scott Pilgrim because that's what he is. It's a self-acknowledgement that he's not that good of an actor. He just is a pretty 6 foot something tall, blonde hair, blue-eyed, white, strong-jawed, Captain America-looking motherfucker. Mother effer. And Anthony Mackie is as good an actor as Chris Evans, Keanu Reeves, Liam Neeson, and any of these clowns, I would say. And everybody criticizing him is, for that reason, that's some racist bullshit, to be totally honest. So I want to front load with that so that people want to go Silver Spook hates. No. I like Altered Carbon. I actually liked Altered Carbon season 2. People didn't like it, but it's because they're all racist. It's fine. Just be racist over there, you racist pieces of imperialist shit. Anyways, too bad. I already sweared. Anyways, but now into the movie. So, but whether the movie is good, entertaining, fun to watch, good action, intriguing. You could also have a movie that's very entertaining and fun to watch, but with not a very clever, well-written, interesting, storyline, right? Or it could be written, like TV scripts, like smart TV script, not very smart script. It could be entertaining, but not smart. It could be smart, entertaining. It could be smart writing, like, I don't know, Battlestar, like Breaking Bad. I'm just trying to think of some, TV shows tend to have more, because you have to keep interest with the writing, less with the special effects, right? It could be very smart, but not very entertaining. It could be very smart, but not very good action, or not very entertaining action, right? Or spectacle. It could be smart and have a lot of action, but then not be very relevant and important, or have terrible politics, right? There's no way to put that. And it could be all three. It could be very smart, it could be very entertaining, and it could be very good politics, which is extremely rare. I would say that never happens in the United States, basically. Maybe Sorry to Bother You comes maybe close to that, but virtually never that will happen. It's either you're either gonna have like good politics, like I don't know, like some John Carpenter movies, like it could be terrible production value, right? Like I would say the terrible production value, but actually like They Live, right? But the politics is like fuck consumerism, fuck neoliberalism, fuck capitalism, terrible production value. Kurt Russell is watchable, but anyway, I'm kind of going off about this. So I want to say the main thing is that I'm mostly reviewing this from a political standpoint, not from like the quality of the filmmaking, acting, directing, screenwriting, all that kind of, and a lot of that stuff is very subjective anyway. So let's get into this fucking flying Captain Star Spangled Flying Underpants. Okay, a Captain Underpants with flying Star Spangled characteristics. It's like Captain Underpants found the fucking Mario Tanuki leaf. Anyways, Falcon and Winter Soldier, black faces in high superhero places. Falcon works for the U.S. military, rescuing cops, rich assholes, and Western politicians from leftist young people with no housing or healthcare whose planet's on fire. We already did this liberal bullshit with Obama. That's basically my review. I'll go more into each of this, but I'm going to read the whole thing first. This Hollywood propaganda is as tone deaf as Nancy Pelosi's "Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice." She literally said that. Thanks, Isaiah Bradley, which is a character in the show who is a Black Korean War veteran who is horribly experimented on, is like the first super soldier, but is treated horribly, is tortured, is locked in a cage. And Isaiah Bradley is and Falcon, right? Sam talks to him and he's like, feels horrible. It's like, this is terrible. What happened to you? What the U.S. did to you? And he hates. He says he has like some of the best lines. Like Isaiah. I want to see a show only with Isaiah Bradley and Carly Morgenthau. It's like they're the only people that say anything true in this whole fucking movie. He's like, there will never be a black Captain America, and any self-respecting black man would never become Captain America. Because he hates the United States because of what they've done to him, obviously, right? Obviously. But anyway, yeah. So, but Isaiah Bradley's character gets a statue, and a nice little placard in the fucking Smithsonian. Oh, thank you for your service, sir. And then and he's crying, oh, it's so great, thank you so much. That part was the bullshit, right? Now, you know, but anyway, this Hollywood propaganda is as tone deaf as Nancy Pelosi's. Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice. Thanks, Isaiah Bradley, for all of your service and we abusing your body. Thanks for your sacrifice of your whole life. Torture, throwing it in prison for trying to do the right thing. Now, $300 million for police budgets from Biden to murder some more black people like you. And now more imperialist wars in the Middle East and around the world to create more flag smasher refugees. Flag smashers is basically leftists. It's a total, just a complete. Let me show you. There's a picture of them. Let me see here. Here's a flag smasher. The flag smashers are totally anarchist, leftist coded. It's just basically a bunch of young people using cell phones. They're poor as fuck with no housing, no healthcare, no nothing. They look. It's black and red, obviously. Totally targeting Black Lives Matter, anarchists, socialists, anybody. They hate borders, right? The whole no states, no borders. It's just a complete attack on the entire millennial Gen Z left. That's what it is. It's pretty blatant and pretty fucking gross. But the U.S. creates the flag smashers. That's why there's refugees. That's the part that they leave out. That's the propaganda. It's like, oh my god, it's just, we don't know how we're going to deal with this problem of all these refugees. Oh, stop fucking fighting your imperialist wars, putting sanctions, embargoes, and destroying the goddamn planet. You fucking American clowns. You ruling elites. Anyways. It's too, I can't abide by the YouTube algorithm rubric. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to break that, but who gives a shit? But you get a plaque, black man. Just like George Floyd. Thank you so much for your service, George. Here, have a fucking golden plaque right next to Nancy Pelosi's kente cloth. Here, have a little hashtag racial healing inauguration with a George Floyd bust. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. This is a liberal ass movie. This is the most liberal movie I've ever seen in my life. Neoliberal movie I've ever seen in my life. The worst imperial propaganda in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is where the US military and Falcon are fretting about infringing on the Libyan border. This buries the fact that the US and NATO forced their way into Libya, bombed it to oblivion, and created literal slave markets there, where black people are bought and sold. Due to the direct illegal violation of their border, I brought this up before, but this is so important. That's the deepest propaganda. It's the meta story that's just lying in the background. As if the United States gives two shits about, if the US gave two shits about the sovereignty and the borders of countries, of legitimate peoples, they would leave the fucking illegal occupation of Hawaii, which they have admitted multiple times in writing. As I always say on this stream, they don't give any shit about anybody's border. They shoot missiles and they blow up Afghanis they're bombing Uyghurs as we speak. Right on the border of Afghanistan and the countries right on the western edge of China. If the US gave two fucking shits about borders, it would evacuate every country it is illegally occupying, bombing, sanctioning, embargoing, manufacturing slave markets in, starving to death, causing the depletion of resources, extracting the resources, whether it's copper, lithium, coltan, steel, oil, committing new Fallujah war crimes across the goddamn planet we don't even know about. Get rid of AFRICOM, get out of the Pacific, stop fucking manufacturing nuclear war with China. But no, that's the lies. The US gives two shits about the sovereignty of anyone. And all of its allies, the entire West, give no shit. US and NATO don't give two shits about anybody. But that's that's the first 5 minutes of the show is Falcon flying towards. There's some bad guys that are flying towards Libya, and Falcon is chasing them down. He's basically like he's the embodiment of the U.S. military. If he's like Iron Man. He literally is Iron Man fused with Captain America with blackface. you know, or it's a in a black body. It's like Obama. It's a fucking Oreo Captain America with literal Captain America, but like Iron Man with advanced Silicon Valley technology and drones up his ass, flying out of his disembarking from his fucking shoulder blades, right? He's literally the fusion of all of the United States. Silicon Valley, drones with like laser anti-aircraft technology, fucking military, a physical embodiment of the U.S. military with his wings, the Air Force, doing an Obama liberal, you know, woke black dude. You know, we're woke because now we have a black leader over all of our racism and our imperialism. It's the perfect neoliberal character, and neo-fascist, because it's what the United States is, what it all is. But anyways, and he's flying, chasing down an airship, and it's like, oh my god, he's like shooting missiles, he's banking and diving, and they're shooting missiles back, and there's like 3 different jets, and they're probably Russian, because we got to start more wars with Russia too, because how are we going to justify preservation of enmity to justify $800 billion US military spending? And then he's like, oh wait, we only have 90 seconds before you hit the border. If you enter Libyan airspace, that would be a violation of the sovereignty of the Libyan peoples. Oh my god, what would Hillary Clinton? Oh, that's right, Hillary Clinton sent fucking with the French military as well, countless thousands of C4 equivalent bombs dropped all over the place, and then fucking fished Gaddafi out in a fucking hefty bag covered in blood. Oh, that's what they did. But no, but the lie is, the drama is like, if there's a map several times, the military, the army and the Air Force are doing a joint fucking action, looking at a satellite map of the country they're in, and this is the Libyan border, and there's a little dot like beep 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 beep, and it's like, oh my god, if you touch that border, it's the end of the world. If the US military violates the sovereignty of an independent country, that's the end of the world. We'll all look like bad guys. Oh my god, Falcon, you gotta pull out. And all the army on the ground is like got their RPGs ready, their Stinger missiles, like, yo Falcon, you gotta pull out. You might violate someone's national sovereignty. Oh no, you might do it imperialism, Falcon. Oh no. And Falcon's like, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take out these bad Russian bad guys. I'm gonna get Russian, French, somebody. Who do you have to start a war with? Ukrainian, probably. Oh, I'm gonna take out these Myanmar. We're gonna do a coup in Myanmar. Maybe they're from Myanmar. They're like the bad one. Oh, maybe they're Chinese. Who do we have to fucking start a war with? That's who we're gonna put in our Hollywood Marvel movie. I got him. Let me just shoot another 6 drone homing missiles. Let me take my homing laser beams. Let me curve some fucking bullets. Let's take out like some kindergarten, let's take some U.S. militarized police officers in a 3rd grade in California who have grenade launchers. Let's take some of those police grenade launchers, the police that are patrolling the kindergartens in California, and shoot the grenade launcher at them. I got it. Give me $25 trillion worth of military spending, and I'll take this motherfucker out. Let me fucking fly like a fucking, quantum interference device. I'm gonna Russian hack them with my Russian hack, because only Russians hack. We don't hack anybody. We only do very polite digital Excel spreadsheet tabulation of our Goldman Lockheed Martin profits. We don't do any hacking. Let me Russian hack them. I'm gonna Russian hack their plane. But the whole drama is like, if we hit the border, America will have violated borders. Oh my god. But then that comes back with, because the flag smashers, they hate borders. See, America, we love borders. We respect borders. We care about the borders. But the flag smashers, all the leftists and anarchists and the socialists, all of your children limping around with $7 an hour wages, teaching anthropology's fucking 406 and fucking aeronautical engineering to make the fucking planes in the University of Santa Cruz and San Diego, they're all like starving in their Toyota Corollas and they're eating cans of tuna fish. I wonder why they're all socialists and leftists now. But they're all smashing borders. They're like, fuck the U.S. border. Oh no, what if we let some Mexicans across? What if we let some Honduran starving ass people under your fascist regimes installed with Biden's help all over Central South America? What if we let some of them in? If the borders go, we're all screwed. And then we have all our fucking fancy ass billionaires sitting around collecting Gucci and Rolls Royces. Apparently Rolls Royces are skyrocketing in sales. Everywhere else can't get a fucking Toyota or a fucking, it's $20,000 for a fucking 30-year-old Toyota 4Runner. But you got Rolls Royces. How are we gonna get Rolls Royces and fucking Gucci? when all the people are coming across the border eating all of our fucking Gucci belts. I mean, they're just like taking the Gucci belt and they fry them up. They fry them up like, you know, in a burrito, because we're a bunch of racists and we think that they're all a bunch of beaners. They're just gonna put all of our Gucci belts and they're gonna eat them all. America's banker, corporate, and military industrial elite, we can't afford to like let anybody across a fucking border. That would be terrible. That's why we have to respect the Libyan border. It's just like the level of pretense is like off the fucking charts. The level of hypocrisy is just like fucking bonkers. Let's read specifically what happened though in Libya. Speaking of fucking Libya, I mean, Falcon, Winter Soldier, Libya. This is literally, I'm not joking about this. This is literally how it starts. Let me read this fucking thing. I'm sorry, I broke the F word rule like 26 trillion times already. This video will never be seen. There's actually negative 11 people watching this because I said I dropped an F-bomb like more times. I dropped the F-bomb more times than the US dropped bombs on Vietnam, Libya, and the Uyghurs in the western border of Afghanistan and China combined. You know, it's a lot of bombs. They dropped more bombs in 2018, you know, on the Uyghurs, you know, committing a genocide against Uyghurs. America commits genocide against Uyghurs along with the Australians, slitting the throats of Uyghurs. They're really great people there, actually committing real genocide. But the US dropped more bombs. I dropped more F-bombs, almost. I don't know, it's pretty close. As I dropped almost as many F-bombs as the US dropped B-52 multi-thousand pound C4 equivalent bombs all over the Uyghurs. That's how much bombs I dropped. And so because I dropped that many bombs, this video is being seen by negative 11,000 people because I'm doing a bad job. Anyways, it's interesting that this important plot point about Sam essentially remaining Falcon instead of becoming Cap follows an extensive action sequence running 10 minutes long, in which Falcon shows off very different skills from... that's not what matters. What matters is it's set near the Libyan border and features a mission to rescue a U.S. soldier from the claws of Jordan St. Pierre and takes place high above the ground with the Falcon speeding through valleys and dodging missiles. So it's very intense. Again, it's very entertaining. There's lots of fucking banking and dodging and Top Gun bullshit with fucking CG fucking Captain Star Spangled Underpants with wings. It's designed to remind viewers of Falcon's skill set, which hinges on lightning fast reflexes and quick thinking, and it's just, you know, like the U.S. military is doing a really awesome job. Good job, U.S. military. We train them really good. We don't violate anybody's fucking border. We only kill bad people. Also, Falcon's boots on the ground, who tracks the hijacking and will later warn. Anyway, I don't give a shit about this. The important thing is it's set right on the Libyan border, and what heightens the tension and the suspense is the fact that he might cross it. As if the U.S. gives two shits, as I already said. Thanks CNN for the slave auctions in Libya. This is more about CNN. But this is also how the Western media buries its crimes, and then, as I said in a previous stream, when the Western media talks about, oh my God, there's a hospital that collapsed in Iraq. Oh my God, 30 hospitals collapsed. Oh my God, the Iraqi government has to be overthrown because they're so terrible at managing their hospitals. Everybody's starving. They can't get healthcare because the hospitals collapsed. Children died in the hospital collapses. Why are the hospitals on fire? Right? What they don't tell is that the hospitals are a fucking crater and they collapsed because American missiles hit them. You know? Fired by Captain Star Spangled Underpants. Fired by fucking Falcon's drones. Fired by the fucking US F-16s. Fired by the fucking US Hellfire missiles. Fired by the goddamn Predators. Right? But if you just say, oh my God, why are everybody suffering? Oh, we gotta go intervene. Let's intervene again and help them. Let's help them again. Maybe we should be, if you shoot another Tomahawk missile, if you shoot Richard Dawkins, with the Blind Watchmaker, if you shoot a Tomahawk missile enough times, like 75 trillion times, eventually the concussive force and the detonation of the with chaos theory and quantum given enough randomness, you may eventually detonate the hospitals in such a way that they fall back in exactly every piece of mortar, steel, and every fucking ventilator and every nurse and doctor explodes and then falls exactly into the same place that they were before they exploded. There is a
one in a Googleplex probability that happens. So maybe if we bomb Iraq enough times, we'll bomb them back into holistic. Maybe we'll bomb their. You can drop enough bombs. You could bomb the hospitals, the clinics, and the preschools back into mint condition. Maybe that's what the U.S. is trying to do. So if we just keep bombing them again and again and just keep, if you murder if you blow up a child, maybe the tissue spontaneously fucking grow back. Like maybe we'll set them on fire and maybe that'll I hear like when you put like icy hot, heat can accelerate healing in some body. So if children have cancer, you blow them up, it might accelerate some healing. Or that's the level of science that exists in the West, like that. Listen to Adrian Zenz, a little fucking neo-Nazi, and they're still listening to him. They're still left, right, and center, still fucking putting that shit out. Every day I see fucking 20 new people that I'm like, oh, you guys are all fucking clowns. I see. You listen to a guy, literal fucking Nazi that wants to melt Jews down in a fire if they don't convert, and also thinks that defended Hitler and thinks that women and homosexuals should not be equal to straight men. And literally uses 8 anonymous sources as incontrovertible evidence of genocide and is cited by and everyone's still following that. So basically the entire West has lost its collective mind. It's either some combination of lost its collective fucking shit, is off its complete rocker, is completely malicious, evil, disgusting human beings. A lot of them are that, and are just it's some combination of those two. It's total caca-stalkers, ruled by the least qualified and the worst. But anyways, CNN produced an exclusive report about the slave trafficking migrants in Libya, the most detailed, devastating conditions of migrants fleeing the crisis in nations across North and East Africa. Smugglers, as CNN calls them, capture and terrorize migrants before selling them into day labor. Libyan authorities then detain the migrant laborers and repatriate them back into their nations of origin. CNN emphasizes that the horror of the slave auctions, with the caption, "I was sold," underneath a picture of one of the migrants, Victory, whose story is told in the report. Zero context is given as typical corporate media. Zero context is given as to why the slave auctions exist in the first place. It's as if the horrors in Libya had just been discovered. Oh my God, why is this Uyghur on fire? Oh my God, it's terrible. Why did he get his head chopped off? It has nothing to do with the fact that the U.S. backed the richest woman in China who evacuated and is a billionaire, and is literally, her family is funding far-right extremism in Xinjiang. Oh my God, why are these people's heads getting chopped off? Oh my God, why are the Uyghurs? It could have been because they're training with ISIS and all of the radical Islamists that the United States work with, train, and then bomb, depending on what day it is, in Syria. That spill off into all of these Middle Eastern countries, and then go back to Afghanistan, and then go back to the borders of China, and then America helps push them into China, and then America with Mike Pompeo delist the ETIM, the East Turkestan Islamic movement, from the terrorist list because they want to weaponize them against fucking China to stop the Belt and Road Initiative, because America is a collapsing Western imperial shithole, and China will assist the rest of the global South in leading everyone else into a cooperative, mutually beneficial, indigenous planet. And you're a bunch of fucking Western clowns, Western murder clowns. You're like the insane clown posse, except not some kind of joke of kind of based, rural America. It's you're literally fucking clowns and gonna nuclear annihilate the entire planet with your disgusting attempts at war on China. But anyways, the important thing is that they leave out the important context. As I say, if you speak about anything about Xinjiang and you leave out the fact that the United States has been funding extremism in the area, has bombed with the same bombs that they drop from B-52s that drop bombs 30 miles from where I'm standing and streaming, and then they drop those bombs on Uyghurs, and they've killed thousands of them, and also funded the extremist terrorism, and also were behind virtually every terrorist attack by the admittance of an FBI whistleblower. You are participating in propaganda. The blood of the world is on your hands when nuclear war starts. If war in China, with China and the South China Sea starts, when people start starving more because America is taking more money and putting it into the military because you lied about what America was doing to the Uyghurs, blood is on your hands, and you are a murderer. Yes, you're a murderer. Too bad you're watching this stream. You're a fucking murderer. Stop fucking talking. Either say nothing. You should actually say, you should be telling in your groups. You should be saying the correct thing, which is that to stop this, about all this war, to stop the
war propaganda, that this is all lies. And if you're not, you're also, I mean, to a certain extent, you are complicit. Because if every fucking leftist and at least anti-war person sits around and says nothing, America will succeed in manufacturing a war that will, there is some slight interest here as well, because this is the first place they're going to hit, Hawaii. This is the Indo-Pacific Command for a war in the Pacific, is where they will fucking nuke first. This is where the missiles will come, hypersonic missiles will come flying out of the east to hit. So thank you for killing Silver Spook. If you say nothing, you fucking cowards. Anyways, CNN emphasizes the horror of the slave auctions with the caption, "I was sold," underneath a picture of the migrants, Victory, whose story is told in the report. CNN's coverage of, and I have to say that because that's above all else. We have to stop this war. We have to stop the war that the United States military and political and business elite are currently trying to manufacture. If we don't, this stream is meaningless. All your left action, anything you've done in your anarchists, your socialists, your communists, whatever food you've been able to grow, whatever Black Lives Matter has been able to done, whatever, all the socialists, all the activity, all the union, all the IWW, all your organizing is meaningless if the United States succeeds in creating nuclear war with China. It's game over. You might as well just fucking play, call it colonialism, and just fucking keel over dead from dehydration at that point. Because everything is meaningless if this war succeeds at being manufactured. They are accelerating it right now. So I just got to put that in as a disclaimer. That's more important than a review of a fucking Hollywood movie. Everything you have ever done in your life is meaningless if we do not prevent this war. CNN's coverage of the matter is typical of the corporate media. Zero context is given as to why the slave auctions exist in the first place. It is as if the horrors in Libya had just been discovered because of CNN's investigative journalism. The underlying assumption of the report is that slave markets are a fetter of the past completely foreign to the enlightened audiences in the US and Western countries. Yet, we have CNN thanked for the emergence of slave relations in Libya. This is more about CNN, but the CNN as a part of the system of Western media and Western education that manufactures these wars. The same entities that will manufacture war with China, which will destroy everything. And I do mean everything. The nuclear clock should be 10 seconds and 5 seconds from midnight right now, because they are literally months, if not, they are literally at most a year, if not months, to successful manufacture of this war. Once the armies, the Air Force, the Navy, the mobilization begins, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to stop the war from taking place. And they think that they can successfully wage hot South China Sea war without it becoming, in containing it, with a nuclear superpower. With a nuclear superpower. The United States is bad. In a certain sense, Donald Trump was actually terrible. Hillary Clinton wanted a no-fly zone over Syria. She was ready to start nuclear war with Russia. The U.S. was this close to starting, to getting very close to a nuclear war with Russia. No-fly zone over Syria means shooting down Russian planes over Syria. That's what that means. Hillary Clinton wanted to have a no-fly zone, which would have meant, which would have meant firing at Russian fucking planes. That could have easily been the end. And then everything you have ever done in your life, all your leftist organizing, all of your leftist tweeting, all of your strikes, all of your unionizing, all of your education, all the anti-imperial, all the decolonization, all the land back, meaningless. Because y'all be dead. Just fucking nuclear radioactive ash. That's why I front loaded with the we have to stop this war. After we stop, and if we stop this war, then we can, then we can think about other things while we're not radioactive fucking ash. And we'll be the first radioactive ash in this fucking war that the United States and CNN and BBC, MSNBC, Fox, a lot of fucking leftists are attempting to manufacture, because they're all apparently off their goddamn rocker clown posse. Anyways, it was CNN.
It was CNN that took part in the most slanderous of lies, cooperation with the U.S. NATO war in Libya in 2011. Libya was bombed. This is not really about this is not really about the Falcon, but I know I'm kind of going off topic, but I'm gonna get back on it. But I have to say that because blood will be on my hands if I don't say that. Libya was bombed for over 7 months while CNN provided media coverage all along the way. CNN produced opinion pieces explaining why the invasion of Libya was just a war. Reports on CNN. Anyways, because of this manufactured war, Libya was invaded. Libya's rebel militias, described as revolutionaries by the likes of CNN, have long since been found to have committed heinous crimes against humanity in their quest to overthrow the Libyan government. Email links of Hillary Clinton's correspondence with a trusted advisor revealed that the former Secretary of State had full awareness of their crimes. The rebels were committing against the Libyan people, the so-called moderate rebels. They supported them anyway. There was the legal assassination of Muammar Gaddafi, literally in the legal invasion and then murder of their head of state. Libyan state was destroyed. The destruction of the state also came at the eradication of the conditions that protected black Libyans and other migrants. Rival militia groups have continued to sow chaos in the country that was once the most stable on the African continent. Anyway, long story short, the U.S. and its allies, through its manufactured consent wars in Libya, destroyed this country. It caused horrific damage. Now they have literal slave auctions because of the level of poverty, the level of economic de-development, devastation, and this years upon years upon years of horrific war with U.S. and French, particularly the U.S. and French-backed Air Force bombing, specifically the Air Force. So when the Falcon is flying over, and worrying about the Libyan border, that is the height of complete lying about history, complete it's disgusting. You know, but it's all in a popcorn munching, entertaining fucking Disney TV series, so it's fine. But you don't realize that that's what's happening. You are literally being propagandized while you are being. It's extremely entertaining and action-packed and fun. You know, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a high-speed, high adrenaline chase, and that's all great. And then you're also having your brain fucking poisoned, and you're having a literal genocide. Oh, we recognize the Armenian genocide. Biden announced we recognize the Armenian genocide, which that's great. And then you recognize the Armenian genocide, and then you bury your Libyan genocide, the one that you are directly responsible for, Mr. Biden, Democrats, Hillary Clinton, that you are personally responsible for actually. They said that it was not necessary to attack. Hillary actually said, well, let's bomb them anyway. They said, Gaddafi, the solution, the situation is not really requiring military intervention. Even their own advisors. Hillary said, well, let's bomb them anyway. We don't need to, but let's just bomb them anyway. Once we start the war, then we'll because they didn't give a shit about human rights in Libya, like they don't give a shit about the human rights of the Uyghurs, like they don't give a shit about the human rights of the Gulf, people in the Gulf, with the babies being thrown out of the incubators, and that story that was the West was lied into. They didn't care about the Iraqi people and a little fucking a little vial of yellow cake that was just laundry detergent waved around to lie America into saving and bringing democracy, freedom, and human rights to Iraqi. The Iraqis, 1 million dead, multi-millions displaced, 37 million Muslims displaced, and acknowledging the Armenian genocide while simultaneously burying with your TV shows the Libyan genocide is just, again, I would say it's the height of preposterous hypocrisy. You know, in a Richard Medhurstian use, it's preposterous. You know, I gotta say it with with the Richard Medhurst accent, but it is. But it is the height. But I'm sure tomorrow they will reach a new height. Anyways, let's continue. I mean, this is all of this is just so fucking infuriating. But I'm trying to review Falcon and the Winter Soldier without completely. Like taking the volume to 130 decibels and just like flying out the window, not because I have a rocket jetpack and fucking eagle wings, but because I don't know, just some like can't handle this anymore. Anyways, the worst imperial propaganda in Falcon and the Winter Soldier is when the U.S. military and Falcon are fretting about infringing on the Libyan border. This buries the fact that the U.S. and NATO forced their way into Libya, bombed it to oblivion, and created slave markets there. Falcon and the Winter... Okay, this is a slight spoiler. So just close your ears for the next 10 seconds, okay? The only honest scene in the show is where Captain America throws a tantrum and chops someone's head off with a shield. What the U.S. does to the... Which is what the U.S. does to the world. Chop its head off. Chop thousands and millions of people's heads off. I mean, literally get people's heads chopped off, like what America does when it radicalizes, foments radical Islam with ISIS, with its moderate rebels, and also with the ETIM, which the U.S. backed and manufactured, and then Uyghurs with machetes go down into the middle of Urumqi and then chop people's heads off with fucking blades. Daniel Dumbro recently interviewed somebody who is the son of a Uyghur religious leader who was sliced to death by blades in Xinjiang, and who his father was literally murdered, and said, you know, this was terrible, who directly experienced the actual extremism, right? And said, we you know, and it's like, you know, this is terrible, but we should not respond too drastically against these people, but we do need security measures. And anyway, this Daniel Dumber, you need to, if you have not checked this channel out, you need to, and you need to tell everybody that you know to check out more of those channels that are like giving some truth about the country that the United States is going to do what it did to Iraq and Libya with next. And it's not going to work out the way that it did in Iraq and Libya. You can't just go in, bomb a country to smithereens, and then create slave markets when it has 1.4 billion people, nuclear weapons, and it is prepared and well armed and well allied to defend itself. So, but this is what America is trying to do. It's trying to Iraq China. It's trying to do a yellow cake China. It's trying to do a babies out of incubators genocide for the Gulf War. It's trying to do a Uyghur genocide for China. You need to counter that. No, I'm talking to you specific on this camera right now. You. I mean, you have to go all day long and scream about it, but I mean, you have to try to share whatever you can with your family, with your friends, or whatever network you have, because the West, the news media, the liberals, the right, the liberals, the center, and a lot of the left, they sure as fuck ain't doing it. And if this succeeds, we're all finished. I know I've said that several times already, but it is of utmost importance. Richard Wolff has even, you know, what are you, a socialist? What, you like Richard Wolff? Richard Wolff has said, if the cooperation between countries around the world and not antagonism, particularly between the largest countries around the world, it is at the utmost, because he's even said, I don't even want to imagine the nightmare scenarios that will result, but it can only result in, at best, impoverishment to the tune of trillions of losses to the American people. It will enrich a few military warmongers and some people on Wall Street, but it will at best impoverish Americans. It will kill thousands, if not millions, of people in the region, and at worst, everyone on Earth will be dead. So it is of the utmost importance that this bullshit, and this movie is part of the bullshit, which is that the United States defends freedom, democracy, and doesn't, and the shield itself is propaganda. As if there's a reason why they give Captain America a shield, right? Because what is a shield? A shield represents defense. We aren't attacking. We are not illegitimately going anywhere and hurting anyone who didn't deserve it. We're only defending ourselves, right? It should be Captain America should have a fucking grenade launcher, just like the police officers in Santa Cruz have when they patrol third grade. The cops that are, why are cops in third grades in fucking Californian public schools? When the cop goes into Lincoln Elementary in fucking downtown California with a fucking grenade launcher, probably in a disproportionately black and brown area, why the fuck do they have them? But if America was, that's an honest depiction of America. Captain America should have a fucking rocket-propelled, ass-impaling, heat-seeking fucking nuclear warhead, not a shield. That's propaganda. Number one, America doesn't defend anything. America doesn't defend anyone except it's ultra rich, and it murders everyone else for them, including its own George Floyd's, and it's striking, and it's leftists, it's unionizers. It just criminalized protests. It have $74,000 fucking robotic police dogs to chase down and fucking break the ankles of any would-be anarchist who might become a flag smasher for legitimate reasons, because they've been brutalized and because they're broke as fuck and they're living in a fucking cardboard box, rationing out their fucking peanut butter from a Skippy's jar. That's the shield is already propaganda, and then what Captain America is doing, what the Falcon and his little buddies are doing, that's just adding in layers upon layers upon layers of a 76 million layer burrito of propaganda. America is the force for death and destruction. It is the bad guy. It is the terror. It is the terror. But then he gets hit with a wrist. Anyways, the only honest scene in this show is, as I said, when Captain America does a terrible thing, which I won't repeat, what the U.S. does to the world, but then he gets a little wrist slap. He is rehired then by Western intelligence. I looked up, who is this? The girl from Elaine from Seinfeld plays a character that worked with SHIELD, and it's like, oh, I see, and the character becomes U.S. agent, but so Captain America does a terrible deed that I'm not gonna repeat again, but does what the United States military does to, but it's okay. It's okay because, if you go and you kill innocent people as a U.S. police officer, as a U.S. military soldier, Air Force pilot, drone pilot, naval officer, Marine, if you kick in someone's door in Iraq, drag them out of the house, fucking murder the son when he stood up because he was 16 years old. He was teenage. He might be holding a gun, and he just shot the innocent child in Iraq. And then you waterboard 20 fucking 13-year-olds, for hundreds of hours straight, and blast Matchbox 20 at 100 decibels, flash the lights on and off with sleep deprivation torture for innocent Iraqi children, because they might be a terrorisms. There might be an Al-Qaeda's that I got from very good intelligence from the very intelligent CIA. That was all false. And there was a bunch of fucking laundry detergent that was, or maybe it was turmeric. I can't remember. Did I put this in my curry, or did I use it to wash my fucking Star Spangled Underpants and my 4-star general 7-figure salary paid for beautiful fucking military cloak? I don't know. I can't remember because I'm too busy lying all day long. I can't keep track of all my lies. The propaganda is that, but the best part of this is that it's okay if you commit these heinous crimes, if you do waterboarding, if you bomb a bunch of Uyghurs, do a genocide, and then say that China's doing the genocide, right? It's fine. It's fine. You're gonna get a little wrist slap, and then you get hired by the CIA, you get hired by the USA. SHIELD's gonna bring you on. You can hang out with Nick Fury and have a fucking invisible flying jet and have a bunch of fancy fucking wired toys to pilot your drone around. You can have an AI piloted fucking drone that also can make you a chai latte for you, and then fly off and shoot fucking homing lasers into the eyeballs of a Russian hacker and a Uyghur child. I'm sorry, not a Uyghur child, evil Chinese enemy. They have slanty eyes because we're all racist in America. That's why we only use slurs to define the Chinese, just like all of our fucking economists, Washington Post, CNN, New York Times articles. You fucking racists that are driving up exponential growth in anti-Asian racism and violence. Oh, and great, America passed a fucking anti-Asian hate crimes bill, so now you can put another fucking $500 million worth of cops in the streets to murder some more Asians and black people and poor people and workers and strikers. Awesome. And indigenous people. Thanks a lot. Fucking murderous, genocidal hypocrites. Anyways, but then he gets slapped, wrist slap. He's rehired. But that it's like there's that one scene where it's like America commits a fucking war crime. America kills someone on camera, and it's like, well, he was, but then like, and it's kind of dark. It's like, oh shit, oh my god. Captain America did this heinous thing. It's gonna make America look bad. But the worst thing that for America, the worst thing that it's not that you killed an innocent person. It's that it might make us look bad. Like, oh my god, if they found out what we were doing, that would make us look bad. Like, we have to stop letting people get killed We have to stop looking bad, like we have to maybe one time we might try a cop like Chauvin, because not because we care about black people, but because it will make us look bad against China. And then how are we supposed to like get everyone to fucking how can we get all of our Americans to pick up their grenade launchers from their kindergarten cops and shoot them at China and back a war against China in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the fucking EU if we don't, and Japan and India, if we don't fucking look better than China? It's not because we care about black people in Libya, in the slave markets, in America, in the slave markets that are called United States courts of law, because all fucking courts in the United States are mockeries of justice. They're only slave auction houses, and the police are slave catchers. That's literally what they're founded on, and that's what they still do in a 2.5 million person for-profit prison slavery, where you make Amazon vegan and non-vegan fucking cheese for 25 cents an hour for standing on the corner while in front of a 7-Eleven while black in Baltimore, in Oakland. You fucking hypocrites. Anyways, but no, we just can't look bad. It doesn't matter if we do bad. We are the evil of the world. We're like 1,000 times more evil than every other country that you could possibly think of. But it doesn't matter. What matters is if we look bad. Okay, so let's put a black Captain America that makes us look good. He was fed up, and that's why Captain America is now black. He was fed up, and this was what he, so you get, so this Captain America that commits this fucking heinous crime, kills it on camera. It's not like America isn't killing innocent all day, killing innocent people. I woke up today, I'm like, hey, how many fucking police murders of black, indigenous, and people of color happened today? Fucking 3 in 2 weeks in Hawaii. It's like Ultra America here, Jesus fucking Christ, HPD. And it's even worse, I was like, Chicago, 13-year-old child murdered, 13-year-old child murdered by 13-year-old child of color murdered by cops, body cam footage released, police off duty. Columbus, Ohio, fucking child, non-white child murdered, police footage, body cam footage released, cops off duty. Hawaii, illegally occupying U.S. empire, illegally occupying U.S. state of Hawaii police. Not this is Hawaii. This is their fucking police. HPD, Honolulu PD. HPD in Hawaii kills 2 people of color in less than 2 weeks. And with the child, 16-year-old child of color murdered. No body cam footage released. Cops back on duty, and the police have said, we've investigated. There's no reason. They've said there's no reason to release this footage. So America is like, fucking, you're worse than Chicago. It's like where they train the death squads for all the Americas. It's like the school. We want to train some fucking death squads to go to Chile and drop people out of helicopters, fucking string people up in the streets to make a point. They train them in Chicago. This is where Obama and Hillary Clinton are from. This is the worst part of the fucking goddamn country. 7,000 people disappeared in fucking less than a decade. 7,000 people of color disappeared by the police, unmarked vehicles into black sites to play Russian roulette. I mean, talk about fucking fascism. That's for Chicago. That's where it's at. Every blue city is a fucking fascist city. Are you kidding me? But Hawaii is like worse than Chicago. No, we ain't gonna release no footage. We're gonna have cops murdering people at a higher rate per capita. Pacific Islanders are murdered 6 times more per capita than white people by the police. And we're gonna kill people of color faster and more disproportionately than America, and we're not gonna fucking release any body cam footage, even when Chicago's doing it. Anyways, but that's a kind of aside about specifically when I say Hawaii's ultra America, I mean it's ultra America. It's even more American than America in the worst ways, in the most racist, police murderous ways, and then covering it all the fuck up. Anyways, and Hawaii is the bluest state, the most Democrat votes in the entire country. The illegal state of Hawaii. It's illegal by the admittance of the United States. But anyways, he gets a wrist slap. He's rehired by Western intelligence. And so if you commit crimes, if you kill someone on camera, I don't care if you kill someone off camera. You can kill all the black people in the dark alley. You can go in Chicago. You can go in Baltimore. You can take out your shotgun and blast the fucking holes into 6 black people in a room. You can kill all the Breonna Taylors you want. You can just shoot through their wall, shoot through their back, fucking blow up their whole fucking house, and then call it arson by black on black arson. You can fucking blow them away and then have 3 black people sleeping. This has happened before. 3 black people sleeping in bed. Just kill all 3 of them with a shotgun blast, and then say that it was three suicides. This is literally how these things are reported. And it's like, you see the black, well, you see, they tied a string, they killed themselves with a shotgun blast from 12 feet away. So they put the shotgun blast on their collapsing refrigerator because they can't afford a new one because they're poor and black. And then they tied a string to the trigger, pulled the string on their shotgun and blew themselves away from fucking 12 feet away, you know, while they were sleeping. That's how suicides are reported by the police in the United States. Of course, that's a suicide. But no, all those suicides, you can kill all the black people, just don't get caught. And then mix shit up like the US police do all the time, like the US military does all the fucking time, like everyone in the US does all the time, because it's a sociopathic fucking gaslighting, lie festival of death, destruction, malice, and exploitation, and slavery and rape. But if you get caught, that's what happens in Falcon and Winter Soldier. He gets caught chopping somebody's head off while wearing an American flag, representing America. And that's the problem. Not that he killed someone, right? No, we go to fucking Eastern Europe, we go to Iraq all the time, but he gets caught beheading someone, right? Like he trains Uyghurs to do, right? The radicalized ones, right? That he does, right? Because America does all the radicalization, as admitted by Sybil Gerard, FBI whistleblower. All terrorist attacks in Xinjiang were backed and caused by the United States, and then she was sued by the United States government to stop talking about that. Because we can never say truth. America is built on permanent, perpetual, terminal lies. Terminal informational cancer, literal cancer that you can't heal because you got no fucking healthcare in your universal death care system, and then also ongoing police and military lies. But anyways, but when you get caught, the lesson in Captain America is you can get caught killing people on camera representing the United States, wearing the fucking shield. You can go get blood all over your shield. That's fine. It's fine. You know, and then, you know, and then you lay low for a little bit, okay? Okay, Captain America, lay low. You killed someone on camera. Oh shit. Cop, did you kill someone? You lay low for a little bit, okay? We'll rehire you at another police department. We'll move you from Chicago to Baltimore, okay? Go kill some black people in Baltimore, right? Change your name, maybe do something. Just until it blows over in the news cycle, right? We'll lay low for a little bit, you know? Just like all the cops that have been doing this nonstop forever and ever. Chauvin, it's like, Chauvin is the first, I was like, what the fuck? That's why Chauvin is like, why am I convicted? This is, you know, you're supposed to let me go. What's happening here? What's happening? Like, you know, I want to see like if you were honest about this. I mean, if America was to convict like all of its cops, because guess what? Every fucking cop in America is fucking a murderer or accomplice to murders, and probably the first one. And America sure as fucking can convict all its cops. That's not why it's throwing $500 million. So America can never do. The Chauvin is like the one. It's like you get the one black Captain America, and then you get millions and millions of starving black and murdered black and mass incarcerated black people. You get one Chauvin, and then you got millions and millions and millions and millions of other white racists shooting everyone and getting away with it, like in the Capitol, like Ahmaud Arbery. Like where's the justice for that? Where's the fucking justice for remember Psychop in fucking Hawaii? Huh? No, none, zero. Because when you kill someone on camera, it doesn't fucking matter in America. Now, I would love it. If America is ready to put every police officer and every fucking white racist killer, there's no ability for American police to investigate, because in order to get everybody who actually did a killing some amount of some accountability, you'd have to actually have a police force that solves crimes. But guess what? Police on average in the United States commit more crimes than they solve. They solve less than one felony per year. So that's not even, it is not even like biologically, physically, economically, financially, it's not even scientifically possible for there to be justice, because America has no capacity to bring any justice to anything if they wanted to. But I mean, if they're willing to disband their entire police and military, because they're all fucking murderers or accomplices to murder, like all those other murderers standing around fucking George Floyd's, all the other police standing around Chauvin while he's kneeling on George Floyd's neck, what the fuck are they? Accomplices to murder, multiple murders. Not the first time Chauvin has done this. But no, that's because Chauvin is the exception. You know? If you fuck up, if you kill someone on camera in the US military or in the US police forces, If you shoot a black person in the back 7 times, in their sleep 22 times, if you murder someone on fucking camera and you get caught and it goes viral on Twitter, it blows up on Instagram, sets the goddamn country on fire for fucking 31 million people out in the street for months and months and months and months for Black Lives Matter, well, you know what you get? You can get a wrist slap and then you can get rehired fucking 6 months later somewhere else. You move you into Western intelligence. That's literally what happens. He gets rehired by the fucking the CIA. Oh, did you fuck up and embarrass us? Well, we're not gonna throw you under the bus because you did such a good job murdering for us in Afghanistan and murdering for us in Syria and murdering innocent children and waterboarding for them. You, Captain America, you've done such a good job, fucking kicking in doors, shooting 16-year-old unarmed Iraqis in Fallujah. You did a good job killing them Iraqis, bombing them hospitals, ripping their legs off, slaughtering children. Thank you so much for your service, Captain America. Murdering innocent people, not on camera. Because you did this one murder on camera, and you did such a good job killing and stormtroopering for our empire, you get to work for the CIA and have a nice fucking cushy budget. You can't work in public. Because, you don't look too good. You don't look too good, you know? Like, they're not going to rehire Jacob Blake's killer in public. He's going to get rehired. The New York Buffalo officers who fucking knocked over and fucking crushed the skull of that elderly Buffalo activist in Black Lives Matter, they're rehired. They're let off scot-free. But we don't want to put you in a big public space, right? You know, because this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for us. Not because we give a fuck about black people, brown people, poor people, any people, anywhere, here or there, in or out of America. We don't give a fuck. But you're embarrassing. So you go work. You can work in here. Have a desk job. You can work in intelligence. Work in the shadowy darkness. Okay, bad Captain America. The moral at the end is like, no, he's actually good Captain America. He's good. He had a bad day. You know, like the white dude who shot majority Asian women in the massage parlors. He had what did the police say? He had a bad day. He was at the end of his rope. He was fed up, and this is what he did. You know, everybody just blows off some steam sometimes. This could happen to anybody. I could do it all the time. I'm a cop, and I fucking just murder some Asian workers in Chinatown. You know, I just kill them because it's like they're like insects, right? America, right? Captain America in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier does a Georgia massage parlor murder. It's embarrassing, but it's okay. It just happens. And now, bad. Oh, in America, America is like, you can't. You're less than honorably discharged. So bad. But you're gonna get rehired by the intelligence community. It's fine. Go be U.S. agent now. You can be a literal U.S. intelligence agent. Because you're actually doing what we need, which is, you know, that's the deeper lesson of this fucking show. We only give a shit if it makes us look bad. Also, let's keep going with this. Yeah, go kill some marginalized people in or outside the US. That's what we want. If you get caught on camera and the killing goes viral, just lay low for a bit and then we'll hire you in another department. That's what they do to police all the time. If you read this far, U.S. Empire, stop illegally. Anyways, this is about Hawaii. Stop illegally occupying Hawaii, murdering Pacific Islanders like me. 6 times more per capita than white people. It's actually 2 times as bad as the per capita murder of black people versus per capita murder of white people in the United States. In the illegal occupation of Turtle Island, United States, and settler colonial empire. The settler colonial empire illegally occupying Hawaii kills Hawaiians 6 times more per capita than white people. Ghettoizing us and forcing us into homelessness or from our homeland, as I have been. I've been forced from my island. I can't live in my indigenous home island, Oahu, because of the U.S. illegal occupation and their billions of dollars that they made backing their military and capital with their luxury hotels and their giant golden fucking 75 golden toileted mansions, jacking the price of even just a meager 2-bedroom house in a ghetto. It doesn't matter where it is. The average 2-bedroom house is $950,000, so almost $1 million right now. Can't live there. Also, 180 million gallons of military diesel that was for powering America's aircraft carriers, battleships, and fucking military jets in World War II that is stored in an area called Red Hill that is currently in 55-gallon drums that are rusting and are spilling into the aquifer that provides the fresh water for my family, my friends and family, and also positive synergy. We all drank this water, and it is currently poisoning and killing my family. Thanks a lot. I know they drink this water. They don't realize it, but that's what's happening. So thanks a lot, America, for murdering Silver Spook's family with your fucking hundreds of millions of gallons of spilling oil that you don't. The military's been called on this, and they say, well, we're not gonna do shit. They basically said we're not gonna do shit because we don't care. We don't even care about our own military servicemen and women. We let their housing rot. Yeah, their housing is dilapidated, falling apart. There's bed bugs and rats infested because they've even farmed it out to private Australian property management firms that are like letting the housing rot for dollars. And we don't give a shit about them. We sure as fuck don't give a. We don't even give a shit about our poor Falcons. We don't give a shit about you, random indigenous person. Go fuck your family can all go die. Fucking of their liver diseases and cancers. Fuck your family. That's basically what's America saying to Hawaiians right now. Thanks a lot. Falcon and Winter Soldier. We have to crush our leftist, millennial, and Gen Z children before they come for us for destroying their future. That's really the final lesson of this fucking show. As I said, the flag smashers. The flag smashers are the enemy. The enemy in this show is the millennial and Gen Z generation in America, in Europe, and around. It's literally, and they're going on Twitter, they're going on social media, and they're telling each other about the crimes, and then everybody's organizing, and they're all wearing red and black, and they don't like borders, they don't like states, they don't like flags, they want equality and justice for the world. That's the biggest problem, is young people whose parents have burned the fucking world, consumed all the resources, left them with austerity and $7 an hour jobs, with no future, with the climate catastrophes, with ongoing endless wars, with all of this racist policing and anti-union and criminalizing even their protests. 50% of food, 50% of college professors food insecure, and they're going, the biggest issue for us is that we have to fucking kill our own children who are rising up asking for just basic needs. That's the lesson of of Falcon and Winter Soldier is murder your own children. Do a Cronus. Eat your own fucking children before they eat you. That's the lesson at the end. Because the U.S. military and the police, they ain't doing shit. Falcon and Winter Soldier murder millennial and Gen Z leftists. That's what they do for a living. They're coming for anarchists and socialists. They're coming for you. Kill and imprison, criminalize, and incarcerate all of your children, rather than change anything. Because they talk about Captain Falcon America gives a good little speech. You politicians and rich people, you guys really, you should. There's gonna be the flag smashers, the next Carly Marx. It's a Karl Marx encrypted. Femme version of Karl Marx, Carly Morgenthau. Anyways, the next leftist uprising is gonna be much worse than this one. You gotta do something. You have so much money. You have so much wealth. Why are you controlling borders and then stopping people from crossing borders? Bad UN, bad Washington D.C. He literally saves Washington D.C. He saves the political Bidens and the political elite and the economic banker and Wall Street elite, which are the same in the United States, right? Captain America saves a fucking limo full of these people, saves police officers, saves the rich. That's who he's saving. He saves Western politicians, the U.S. military, and cops while working for the U.S. military from the left, from their own children. And then he gives him a little lecture and money please, can I have the money for my fucking little wings and my little suit and my fucking wages please, because I work for the fucking US military. It's like Obama coming out going, the banks are, we have to have hope and change, and we need prosperity for all. Bad banker, bad corporation. Can I have another fucking $7 million for Goldman Sachs? Can I have another fucking $10 million? Lockheed Martin, money please. Let me publicly chastise you. Some liberalist bullshit I ever fucking seen in my life. Captain Falcon. I mean, fucking Falcon. Falcon should have run for fucking president in 2008. He would have won with his little lecture, his little token lecture. And then what does he turn around? Work for the U.S. military to go kill some more millennial and Gen Z Americans, children. Eat your own children. That's the fucking lesson. It's neo-feudalism. Don't give your children fucking housing, education, food, and healthcare and their basic needs. And stop being racist. No, keep being racist. Starve your children. Pay them fucking $4 an hour to Uber when you count in all of the insurance and gas costs. Keep paying your children $7 to work in a fucking McDonald's. Fucking keep annihilating the economy and giving it all $6 trillion to the richest, right? And then make fucking movies about how you care and murder your children. You know, that's literally the lesson of this fucking show. Murder your fucking children, asking and organizing for the basic needs. Because I'm a liberal, white, or black, or even Jewish, or brown, Hispanic. I'm a fucking sellout, professional managerial, accountant for Lockheed Martin. And I'm gonna kill my own fucking children with the US military and police and put them all in prison rather than see my fucking yacht and my penthouse be taken from me. No. Fucking kill my own children. And destroy the world. I'm gonna nuke China and nuke the world rather than give my children anything. I'm gonna fucking burn this planet to a crisp. I'm gonna consume 10 times more carbon as the boomer and Gen X generation and the handful of millennials that have a fucking professional managerial job that pays the 6-figure plus salary you need to exist with your basic needs in America. I'm gonna keep consuming this planet till it burns. And if any of my kids come and they ask for anything, they can live in my basement maybe, but if they start organizing the street, if my children do a Black Lives Matter, if my children do any kind of anti-capitalist action, if they try to get in the street and strike and ask for wage rises, I'm gonna fucking send the cops out to fucking murder them. I'm gonna send Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier to fucking crush their fucking child's skull. Cause fuck my children, fuck my own daughter and son if they want to come and take my wine and take my fucking pension, take my yacht, take my fucking trips and my junkets to fucking to Jamaica, take my trips to Hawaii. Fuck I'm gonna murder my children. Oh yes, I care about but if my dynasty is gonna come and I'm gonna fucking kill my own children. Just like Tywin Lannister. It's a very Western thing to do. Murder your children. Very, very, very American thing. It was actually legal for fathers to kill their own children in the United States in the 1800s. Women couldn't because women were also property. Fathers could also murder their wives and rape their wives. It's still illegal to rape. There's no cops don't investigate less than 1% of rape, so it's still illegal to rape your wives. But it was legal for men to kill white men to kill their own children in America in the 1800s because that's what you do. Your child's too gay, you don't like that, you kill him. You don't like the color that they came out, kill them. They're defective because they have some disabilities. You murder your child. That was legal, and fathers did that to their children. They still do that. Everyone does that apparently. Now, women, you can have more women, male, black, and brown children murderers in America. More women, child murderers. Cannibalize your own children and make shows about killing your own children. Because guess what? As that recent article came out by the conservative journal, most of millennial and Gen Z are not becoming more conservative as they grow older. They're staying very left. So what you're saying is fucking murder the entire generation, kill every last child in the West before they can get their. When they ask, please, can we have a little bit, mommy and daddy? Kill them. Send a grenade launcher. Send a fucking Falcon drone strike in your leftist organization in Cincinnati. That's what you're saying. Send the fucking smart bombs from the 77-foot wingspan Archangel drone to go blow up the socialist and anarchist organizations. That's what you're saying. That's what Falcon and Winter. That's what America's saying. Fuck my children. Fuck this entire planet. All I care about is me feeling good and killing, but mostly me guilt tripping everyone else. And maybe I'll feel nice and I'll put a kente cloth and kneel down and have a white fragility conference in my fucking corporate training. But then actually I don't give a shit about black people. Actually, I don't give a shit about anybody. I'm just a piece of fucking shit. And some of them are black and some of them are brown. There's a Kamala and there's a Oreo here and there's an apple there and there's a Twinkie over there and there. You can get, but we're all gonna work together to kill this whole fucking planet. Anyway, that's my review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. American propaganda to the max. Anyway. You know, it's you know, that is ultimately the lesson, though. If you're the law leftists, you are the flag smashers. Those are the antagonists in this show. This is who Falcon and Winter Soldier are coming for. It's literally these people. They're asking for medicine and healthcare and basic services for people. These are the evil villains in the show. It's literally socialist, anarchists, and leftists. I'm not joking about that. And at the end, it's like, oh, they're all led astray. Oh, we have to, and it's basically Captain America. The Falcon is like, who becomes Captain America is like, we have to do better. We have to stop these kids from going astray. We have to stop doing these bad things. But it's like, at the end of the day, is a fucking superhero gonna come and beg Biden? How's pushing Biden left going for you? You see it moving left? Is that what's happening? Is Biden like, oh my God, I feel so bad for all of my children that I'm locking up by criminalizing protests, by making it legal. I think it was Florida that made it legal to put juvenile offenders in prison for life. How's it going? Criminalizing protests of pipelines. How's it going? Fucking inflating the funding of police. How's it going? Accelerating police murder. How's it pushing of? Is Anthony Mackie out there yelling at Biden? Go left, Biden. Stop. Give healthcare. How's the concentration camps going at the border? Increasing population. How's he doing on that? Worse and worse. How is the reason for the fucking border crisis, which is all of the imperialism of Central and South America, going accelerating? Biden literally was the architect of the death squads in Colombia, which was one of the biggest human rights violations in South and Central America. That's why my friend Duende is an indigenous person from Colombia, said I would never vote for Biden because he literally backed the death squads. He pushed and demanded the death squads that were sent in for the benefit of transnational and American-centered corporate extraction. The death squads that went in and murdered indigenous people in Colombia. That's why they're leaving their countries. Nobody would have to. This is the lie. This is the other, omitting the important context that creates the propaganda, and it's the lie of this whole fucking show. The Thanos snap, which is itself. There's a whole fucking 24-hour stream I could do just on Thanos and what that means in the context of the 20th century and the struggle of capitalism and socialism and communism. But the concept of the show, right, is that there is the reason why the villain is because when Thanos snapped his fingers, half of the planet disappeared, which means there were a lot less people. People disappeared out of their suburbs in Ohio and their Orange County. Oh my God, where'd my Hispanic maid go? Oh no, where did my black fucking help go in the prison in fucking San Quentin? Oh no, who's gonna put on my wildfire for George Lucas? Stop my Ewok set from being burned to a crisp this summer when the next Exploding Cop gender reveal party burns the rest of California down with black. Where's all the black firefighters that Kamala Harris and Biden locked up? Top Cop and Mr. Crime Bill. Oh no, they Thanos snapped all my black slaves away and all my Hispanic slaves away. So that's the pretext of this fucking show. I'm not even joking. So what do? Oh, they don't say that, but that's what it is. So they open up borders to let the global South migrate into America, migrate into Europe, migrate into Western Europe, rich countries like the UK that are hoarding vaccines, migrate into Canada, migrate into Australia. Because why? Because we need more people to come in and do the labor that we don't want to do because we're a bunch of rich fucking racist assholes. We're a bunch of plutocratic, neoliberal, racist assholes. So we need global South people to migrate in because we lost half of our population. They let them come in. They're doing the work, right? Living slightly better off than they were in their hellhole that America. But what they're missing is why are people leaving those countries in Central South America? Why are they leaving those countries in Africa? Why are they leaving those countries in the Middle East? Because of the rich Western fucking countries, right? If Every Central and South American, Brazilian, Chilean, Bolivian, Nigerian person, Ugandan, person in Iraq and Afghanistan had their food, their water, their security, their housing, which is what China's poverty alleviation, 850 million people, more than anything the West has done in its entire history. If they were living with all of their basic needs met in their countries, in their indigenous countries, in Africa, in South Central America, in the Middle East, in Asia, nobody would be flocking away to leave to go to America and to Europe. Right? That's the lie that's left out also. They would just be like, oh, there's half the people. Well, we will just pull it together and we'll work together collectively and we'll figure this out. It's very sad, but half of us are gone, but we will collectively work together for the mutual benefit of all. And if the population reduces, it's not a problem. Why? Because we're all sharing in more or less socialistically and equally anyway. So if there's, if the productivity shrinks by half, but the consumption shrinks by half, there's no change in living standard. There would not be this migration. Why is the migration happening? Because the global north, America and all its allies, the rich countries are sucking all the wealth out of the south. That's why there's any migration to begin with. This is like all the deep lies of global imperialism, global white supremacy, global Western exceptionalism, and global neoliberalism. If you weren't impoverishing the rest of the world, when Thanos snapped his fingers, nobody would move. It's because the global north is impoverishing the global fucking south, which is what China is going to stop, and that's why you have to fucking stop this goddamn war. Because it sure is fucking America, Britain, Australia, and New Zealand that are giving multi-hundreds of millions of vaccines away and selling to for prices, getting it to places where the global north is hoarding 3x the goddamn needs. Canada, 5 times enough to vaccinate its population, 5 times the fuck over. America, 3 times the fuck over. UK, multi-times the fuck over. US and UK blocking waivers in the WTO to waive the intellectual property rights of Bill Gates and all of his fucking corporate Western friends, right? Who are making billions of dollars selling these vaccines. China and Russia and the global south, they were like, we're happy to waive the patents and let anyone make any vaccine that they want, generic versions. It was the fucking West that's murdering the world. India, murdered by, again, India, just please stop blocking access to the materials we need to make the vaccine. United States, please. In its skyrocketing 300,000 cases in one single day. America, absolutely not. Go die, India. Go fucking die, just like Hawaiians. No, fuck you. You guys can all die. We're not gonna clean up. We're not gonna spend 2 cents cleaning up oil that's spilled under an area that that doesn't have water that's feeding a fucking millionaire son. We all fly in water straight from the Swiss Alps, $10 a fucking ounce. But we can afford it because we're all rich military generals and fucking white Anglo-Saxon Protestant New Yorkers sitting in Kahala. We don't drink that water. Fuck you, Hawaiians, go die. Indians, go die. People in Africa, go die. Go be auctioned in your slave market. Fuck you. If America and its allies were not doing that to the rest of the world and extracting all the resources, nobody would have moved in the Thanos snap. People would have stayed where they were and would have redivided the resources. It would have been the same amount of resources going to the same amount of people. It just would have been half the people. People would have had funerals with no bodies as the pile of ash was just laid at the grave site. That's very sad, but then people would have moved on and would have worked in a indigenous, socialist, mutually beneficial with each other, from nation to nation, for people to people, and for people to planet. People would have moved on with half the population in their nations, practicing their culture, trading with each other, but just with less stuff being produced, right? The only reason why the Thanos snap causes this problem of the flag smashers crossing border is because half the planet, the North brings these people in because they run out of slaves and workers. Oh, well, actually, no, it's actual slaves in the prison industry. Black slaves in the prison industry, $3 an hour McCall Ice in Coke Foods, in the Tyson chicken separation plant, in the French fusion restaurant in California, where the fucking white boss chef is paying $3 an hour all the underpaid cooks that are all Hispanic, and threatened with fucking calling the literal deportation police to kick their ass out if they ever ask for a raise. They ran out of Hispanic chefs. They ran out of Nancy Pelosi's fucking, Global South ice cream runners to bring her triple fudge, gold leaf ice cream, $100 a fucking quart, up to her fucking palace, somewhere in San Francisco, where she's having weird sex parties with Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, I don't know. They can do whatever you want. No sex shaming, but definitely hanging out and doing ancestral billionaire and millionaire political and economic elites fraternizing in the Democratic National fucking Convention. They ran out of Mexicans to bring Mark Zuckerberg's fucking silver-plattered COVID shot. How am I gonna shoot? I can't shoot myself. I need a Filipino. I ran out of Filipinos. Hey, somebody go harvest some Filipinos. Oh no, Thanos snapped away half my Filipinos. How am I supposed to get my fucking COVID shot and pay my Filipino garbage wages and give them PPE that's a black trash bag so my Filipinos can asphyxiate in a fucking black trash bag? Because I can't give my fucking medical workers, essential workers, goddamn PPE. Oh no, Thanos snapped my Filipinos. Quick, everyone else from the Philippines, come into America. Quick! Oh, they had snapped half of my fucking migrant labor for Swedish strawberry fields. Quick! Some more Africans come into our awesome Sock Them Sweden to do a fucking migrant. They have that. Oh no! Where are we gonna get all of our French colonial tax? Oh no! Quick, bring in a bunch of Senegalese into France to fucking do more janitorial work for the fucking Louvre and the fucking Eiffel Tower tourism center. Oh no, where are our janitors gonna Oh no, how are we gonna keep on being racist against Muslims all over Europe, like in Germany? And then utilizing and sucking the wealth out of their countries. How are we gonna steal? We need. Oh no! Everybody come to Europe. No. It's not Fortress Europe. Now we're open Europe. We love all of the black and dark peoples. That's what they call them in Europe. The dark peoples. We love you now. We love you, dark peoples. I know it's obviously very racist, but Europe is a racist shithole, colonial shithole. Anyways, that's the story. That's Falcon. But then when people reappear 5 years later, after the snap, right? What happens? Now we don't want any of you here. Now we don't want. Actually, I'm gonna put Falcon up in the corner. We don't want any of you dark peoples anymore. We don't want you black and brown people anymore in Europe. You're muddying the gene pool, as Adrian Zenz would say, a literal Nazi who is, on the tip of the tongue of every Western academic, politician, left, right, and center media. Because you're all Nazis. I mean, that's what it's saying, is you all are fucking Nazis, because you cite him every day. Every day I see somebody else fucking citing this goddamn guy. And then they have another one from the victims of communism. Now that if enough people are finding out about Adrian Zenz, now they got another one from the victims of fucking Communism Foundation. Same fucking, or it's like his fucking coworker. Hey, Adrian Zenz 2.0, no opinion. Somebody, but it's for years this has worked. Nobody looks into shit because you say something that's bad about China. You say something racist against Asians, and also slanderous against China. It's okay. Nobody fucking looks into it. Anyways, but racist ass Europe and North America. Let's not throw us over here. Falcon review. So the snap is undone. Half of the world's, so it's like 4 billion people come back, right? Suddenly, and then now all the global North rich countries, they don't want those. Oh no, wait, too many Filipinos, go back home. Oh wait, no. Too many black and brown people, go back home. Too many South and Central America. Oh, Hondurans, you gotta go home. Puerto Ricans, go home. Go the fuck home. Get out of here, right? Go home. We don't need you anymore, basically, right? We have the appropriate number of slaves again. All the other slaves reappeared, so now we don't need you anymore. Now we have to call on. We're gonna go back to normal colonialism and old school. Get the fuck out of our country. That's the pretext of this show. And so the flag smashers are like, this is unfair. Why should we be sent back to where we came from? We have done all your work for the last 5 years. We've done all the essential services, medical work, waiting your tables, cooking your food, working in your factories, cleaning your floors, injecting your COVID. We've been all of your medical support staff. We've done all of this labor that you didn't. We put out your fucking California wildfires. We made all of your license plates because you lost half of your prison population. That makes every license plate in America has prison labor all over it. The license plates are made in prisons. Andrew Cuomo's New York license plates made in prisons in Rikers Island. We did this labor for you. It is not fair for you to send us home. And we demand an end to this, and they want to stop this policy, and that's what the uprising it comes from, right? But obviously that's fucking justified. The global South does not deserve to be enslaved to the global fucking rich North. Filipinos do not deserve to be enslaved to their fucking rich white old people to give them care and be abused as sexual objects. The flag smashers are totally justified in everything that they're saying. And right? But no, they're the evil. They're the criminals. They're the villains. Anyways, but and there would not be any flag smashers if there were no imperialism and colonialism. There would not be flag smashers because nobody would be moving. Why would I go to a racist ass America when I could stay in and have a nice healthcare, housing, food, education, and have my family and my friends in Honduras, in Iraq, in Libya? Why would I leave Libya when Libya is prospering, using its sovereign resources and to build up other renewable technology and have good Libyan jobs, building a high-speed rail in a Libyan factory for $60 an hour, and I'm making enough to have healthcare and housing, and I can practice my Libyan dance, speak my Libyan language, watch movies, and have air conditioning and all the nice things. Why would I leave Libya and go to fucking America? Why would I leave Iraq? Why would I leave Syria and go to Europe when I'm being treated well here? I don't want to go to a racist Europe. I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to leave my homeland. I don't want to leave the place where I can practice my own culture and where I have family and friends that like me and I care about in my community. I don't want to leave. Why would I leave? I'm not going to leave, right? But no, it's because of the West, the United States at the helm of it. It's militarism, it's imperialism, it's colonialism, it's draining of the rest of the global South of its resources. That is even a possibility of a plot line that there could be everybody leaving the South to go to the global North. Again, it's kind of like going, why are all these hospitals in Iraq collapsed? The Iraqis must be terrible at governing themselves. America has to go in and save Iraqis from the lack of healthcare. No, it's America's that blew up with its missiles that fucking were fired into Abu Ghraib. All the B-50s, all the carpet bombing that they did with their cluster bombs, the white phosphorus melting the skin off of children. That's why the children are all dead. That's why the hospitals are all gone, right? But you're leaving that out, and that's what the Falcon and Winter Soldier leaves out about that whole the whole pretext. It's all garbage. Also, Thanos itself was just it was an encrypted. Thanos is like purple space China, space communism. Oh my God, overpopulation, China's one-child policy. Thanos is gonna kill us all. He's gonna snap our fingers. He's gonna come in. He's gonna literally murder everyone and half of everybody on every planet. It's literally a Red Scare narrative, and it's still a Red Scare narrative. Also, there's so many other things to talk about in this fucking show, but the power broker, when they go to cyberpunk, there's a cyberpunk area that's in it's in Southeast Asia. I forget where exactly it is. They go to a Southeast Asian country, and it's all drug. It's always the Asian stereotype. Asian cities as dystopian, full of drug use, criminality, prostitutes. Oh, me love you a long time. Everything I've been talking about a lot on the streams. And they go to the Southeast Asian city. It's all it's like a basically altered carbon set, and it's all depraved. And depraved means people with tattoos. People with tattoos, people using some drugs, sex workers. Oh, sex workers! Oh my God, this is dystopian end of society. Is there sex workers and drug use, and then Japanese and Chinese language everywhere. There's Japanese people everywhere. That's the yellow. It's yellow peril to the max. That's just another side thing I wanted to say about this fucking show. But but the main point that I would make in Falcon and Winter Soldier, just to kind of reiterate, if you missed this part, I know I kind of went off on a bunch of other directions, but the main point is that where the fuck is it? Is black faces in high superhero places, working for Falcon works for the U.S. military, rescues cops, rich assholes and Western politicians to save them from young leftists with no housing, no healthcare, whose planet's on fire. We already did this with Obama. This is the superhero fictionalized Hollywood version of Obama, basically. That's what it is. It's the most liberal bullshit I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna see something even more liberal tomorrow, so that's not saying a lot, but every day America tops itself. This Hollywood propaganda is as tone deaf as Nancy Pelosi's "Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice." Thanks, Isaiah Bradley. Thanks, Isaiah Bradley, Korean War black veteran that was tortured and mistreated by the United States, particularly because he was a black man. In the comics, he is actually the first black Captain America, and America can't accept that, and it still can't really. Now, that's why it wants Iron Man fucking back on all of its LA billboards, apparently. Now 300 million people. But thank you so much for your service, George Floyd. Now here, $300 million for police budgets. Here, murder more black people, mass incarcerate more black people, make more George Floyds, and do more imperialist wars. Biden is increasing and pushing for more of these wars, not creating the refugees, the flag smasher refugees, creating more antagonism and hate, and people rightfully upset at the United States. The worst imperial propaganda in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is when the U.S. military and Falcon are fretting about infringing on the Libyan border. This buries the fact that the U.S. and NATO forced their way into Libya, bombed it to oblivion, and created slave markets there. The only honest scene in this show is, again, I'm not going to say it again, but Captain America does something absolutely terrible. Kills someone, innocent, let's put it that way. What the U.S. does to the rest of the world all the time, but from a person-to-person basis. What America does country to country around the world. And will cop to black person in the United States all the fucking time. But then Captain America gets a wrist slap. He's rehired by Western intelligence. The message is go kill some marginalized people in or outside the United States. That's what we want. Keep doing what we ask you to do. If you get caught on camera and the killing goes viral, as a cop or a military officer, just lay low for a bit. We'll hire you in another department. They're never gonna catch you if you kill someone in Iraq. That's why they kill everybody in Iraq. The only difference between Iraq and like a very bright lit street in most of America is that you can't see all the people of color being murdered in Iraq. If there was no cameras, no lights, and nothing in America, everyone they'd be killing way more. They'd be killing hundreds of thousands of black and brown people all the time. Right? Which is what they were doing all the time in fucking the 70s, the rest of the history of the United States. Right? And when there's cameras, all they do is 6 foot tall black man in the 80s and the 90s, every day on the news, on the nightly news. 6'2" black man mugs a white woman in the alley. 6 foot black man discovered in Orange County, maybe robbing houses, on drugs. 6 foot black man kills X and Y and Z people. Police miraculously save. Police shoot 6'2" black man in alley, wearing hoodie, blah, blah. Because the only narrative was the cameras of the United States empire, of its murderous, neoliberal, neo-fascist, blue governments and TV stations which are all owned by the U.S. Ruling class. The only difference is now people have cell phone cameras and fucking internet, right? Which is all being... 3,000 people had Breonna... 3,000 people's Twitter accounts were deactivated in Breonna Taylor's trial. When Breonna Taylor had a major court session, it was really high profile. 3,000 people's Twitter accounts were deactivated for saying Breonna Taylor's name. Indigenous people who simply protest and talk about what the police are doing illegally to shove fossil fuel pipelines through Wet'suwet'en, Dakota people, and other people's land, routinely have their entire existences wiped off Twitter. I was banned. All of the internet was shut down when in the middle of the Mauna Kea actions on the Big Island. The Hawaiian activists and sovereignty proponents in our Hawaiian actual sovereign capital had their entire actions wiped off of Facebook and Twitter and every surveillance capitalist platform. They're trying very hard to stop this from happening, yet it still somehow gets through because they don't have an advanced enough ability to censor all of the actual left off of the internet and all the black, indigenous people of color and decolonization people, right? They're trying their best though. So if it goes viral, it's okay. Just lay low. We'll hire you somewhere else.
if you read this far, anyways, so that's my and the ultimate lesson, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, is we the liberals, the neoliberals, the wealthy of Gen X and the boomer, the who have consumed disproportionately the resources of this planet. We of the global north and the rich Western countries who have consumed the global south's resources historically to this day, burning all the fossil fuel, burning multi times more per capita the fossil fuel and resources than anyone in the global south, 100 times more than any Vietnamese person. And thousands more if you count historically what has been used. But we of the global north, we of the of the rich, even within our own countries, we the millionaire and billionaire classes of America, we the boomer with 20 fucking Airbnbs, we even our own millennial and Gen Z white children, we must crush their movements. We must crush their socialism and anarchism. We must stop them from getting equality and fighting against capitalism, fighting against the racialized capitalism in our own countries. We must kill them with our police, with the Falcons and our Winter Soldiers, who they all work together very closely. The police are only... NYPD is shown to be a saving grace. The U.S. military is a force for good and freedom, and it only has fucking sunshine flying out of its ass. With one bad apple. The police NYPD comes out looking really good. The United States liberal class, the Gen X and boomer fucking Karens of this first world, must kill our own children rather than see a just world. That's the lesson at the end. We must crush the socialists and anarchists. We must annihilate the communists of the UK. We must delete the anti-fascist and the people for anti-imperialists of Germany. We must crush the uprisings against for racial equality in France. We must annihilate the indigenous in Canada. We must, and all their allies. Anyone who wants to ally with the indigenous, you must all be stompeded by the RCMP and the police forces. Everyone must be criminalized because you are all terrorists and you are all evil if you side with not giving us more fucking Porsches, pensions, and fucking mansions. I don't know what do you need? How many fucking Rolls Royces do you need? They need a lot more though. That's what they think. If you even touch any of our luxury goods, you touch our golden ice cream, if you touch our penthouse, if you touch my 6 vacations a year to Hawaii, I will fucking personally murder you, child, my own children. That's the final lesson. That's where America. That's where the West stands. That's what they are saying. If you and your Chinese friends and your global South friends want to take our global colonial Versailles from us, we, the wealthy liberals of the first world in our penthouses, if you and your fucking global leftist friends want to fucking touch our order, we will nuke this whole planet to smithereens, and we will go to fully automated luxury space, fascist capitalist Mars, and sip fucking $500 champagne in a Martian colony with the oxygen rationed out by Elon Musk, $10 a breath, with the last 20,000 surviving Filipino and black slaves and 5,000 of us, the richest of Earth. We will burn this planet if you touch us. We will nuke China, and then we will nuke this goddamn fucking planet. We will kill you, I will kill you, my own daughter. I raised you in the crib. I gave you your 80s comic books. I took you to the mall, and you have your fucking vaporwave to reminisce that. I gave you all these things, but I will kill you, child, if you ask for justice for this planet. Racial and economic justice, climate justice. I will murder this fucking planet. That's what the United States is doing right now. Backing its war on China, which will nuke this goddamn planet. That's what UK's elite are doing. That's what Boris Johnson is doing. That's what Trudeau is doing. That's what the Australian PM is doing. That's what the CEO of Raytheon is doing. That's what Goldman Sachs is. That's what Bill Gates is doing. Elon Musk is literally preparing for this, building his rocket ships and star bases to get to fucking Mars, and so he can lock it down like Total fucking Recall. That's what or we're gonna go under the ground, but we will nuke this fucking planet, and you will live in the Fallout world. We will have Mad Max world. We will have American elite on top forever, stomping on your fucking black and brown and left faces forever. It will be a fucking neoliberal fucking Prada with a Black Lives Matter and a trans flag with no trans lives actually mattering fucking on my Prada boot, stomping on your black, brown, and left face forever, or you will all die. You will all burn.
every human being and I will eat my children. I will cook my child's fucking bicep on a fire like Dahmer and eat my child, rather than lose my fucking Gucci. Like Alex Jones, I'll eat my neighbor. Except it's not even, the liberals will eat their children, not just their neighbor, eat their fucking children. I will not see 1 ounce of this order, this beautiful world that we have built. I have too many beautiful and very entertaining Sistine Chapel vacations to go to. I have too much fun in the Hilton Hawaiian Village having sexy dances from a 6'6" Jason Momoa cousin to fucking give any of this up. I will not give it up. I will have my goddamn steak. I will have my cold Mexican beer. My imported cold Mexican beer. I will not accept a communist, common Chinese beer, even if it tastes better. It's cheap. It's cheap Chinese shit. I will have my imported, slave-made Mexican fucking beer. I will have my $10,000 hooker. I will have my shirts laundered in the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo. I will go to Tokyo for the motherfucking Olympics. I don't give a fuck about this COVID. You will not stop me, child. I will eat you, child. I will eat your fucking heart. Child, I will cut your heart out of your chest. Daughter, majoring in anthropology, fucking tweeting in your Discord with your fucking your fucking marks with a hammer and sickle and laser eyes. I will cut your heart out, child, and eat it if you stop me from going to Tokyo and killing this world with pandemic. I will kill you, and I will hire Falcon to do it. I will hire the U.S. military and police to do it. I will fucking murder you. That's what America is saying. It's much worse than Alex Jones. I will burn this planet in nuclear fire. You will not touch my vacations. You will not touch my touch my Gucci. I will have the sunroof in my flying fucking Rolls Royce as a royal of the United States neo-feudal elite. I will have 7 of them. This is a fun fact. Luxury car, while the cars for the mass GM Ford minus 1 million, they're 1 million cars short in trucks. Toyota, all the average person's cars are short. We were like struggling just to find any vehicle. The luxury Rolls Royces are flying off the shelf. They're making lots of them. They have their semiconductors for their cars. I will have 7 Rolls fucking Royces and 25 Gucci, and you will burn, daughter. You will burn, son. You will burn, non-binary. I'm not gonna even acknowledge your gender. Fuck your gender. I'm a TERF. I'm J.K. Rowling's friend. I'm gonna burn you and your whatever your gender is. You come and touch my junket. You fucking come and touch my America. You touch my fucking New York. You touch my New York City. I love beautiful New York City that I can't even fucking spend time in. That all the restaurants and bars and clubs are closed in. It's not my fault. It's China's fault. They closed my fucking clubs. It's a Wuhan flu. I'm a fucking liberal with a 6-year fucking fine arts degree. I will go to the Guggenheim. It will open. I'm gonna go to it. I will go to my yoga studio. I will go to my luxury yoga studio, and I will have my food served by underpaid Chinese chefs, underpaid Filipino chefs, underpaid Mexican chefs. Fuck equality. I will eat. I don't want to cook ever in my life. I like not cooking. I like being served. I like having my 75 golden toilets, and I like my 75 golden fucking toilets in fucking Oregon with a fucking Black Lives Matter flag and a fucking stolen artifact from fucking Zimbabwe on the wall. My black African mask that I'd like to talk about with all my liberal fucking friends. And I have some fucking art installation, avant-garde, a piece like Boots Riley's Tessa Thompson, throw bullets at a black woman's body covered in oil and cell phones. And all the stolen wealth of Africa. I will have black women stand naked in front of me and my liberal friends and Nancy Pelosi and Mark Zuckerberg, and I will throw bullets and fucking gallons of oil in their fucking face, because I like to do it. I want to do it. And they will get down in their hands and fucking black hands and their black knees, and they will clean my golden fucking toilets forever. And if you touch that, son, daughter, I don't care what the fuck school you went to. I don't care what the fuck you learned in your leftist Twitch stream. I don't care what the fuck you listened to Cameron Kenny or Della or Silver Spook and you heard about some kind of capitalism and colonialism is bad. I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I raised you. Yeah, I paid for your college. Yeah, I paid for you to go to fucking UW. Yeah, I paid for your anthropology degree. Yeah, I paid for that. I will murder you if you touch my 75 golden toilets. I will fucking put you in my basement and you will clean my fucking thing. That's what I will do to you, because you a flag smasher. Now you deserve to die. You want to smash the American flag that I need to continue to extract colonial wealth and slaves to clean my toilets, to fucking do my Waikiki fake plastic dances? I will come to Waikiki. If you touch my fucking sex trafficked Filipinos and sex trafficked people in Micronesia, you touch my Jason Momoa that I fucked down there, I will fucking murder you with my police. I am going to Hawaii whether I bring the plague or not and displace another fucking 100,000 Hawaiians by buying up 7 more. I want 7 more houses on Maui and 3 on Oahu, and I will buy them. And if you try to stop me, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist child, and your little China friends, and your little Russian friends, and all your little global South friends giving away vaccines, I will fucking burn you all. That's the lesson of this show. Anyways, I think you get the point. That's my King Warren impression, or my King Warren / Prince of Sybil. Minus the filter. That's what they actually think. Anyways, if you're listening to Della, you know, no, it's like very disgusting. But that's what the United States, that's what the ruling classes want to do. It's very sick. It's very sad. It's very depraved. But by their actions, that is what they want to do. That is what they will do. That is what they are doing. That is what Biden is doing. That's what Kamala is doing. That's what that's what Hollywood is doing with this shitty ass show. Very entertaining, but terrible politics filled show. They are manufacturing consent. They are continuing to do that. They will never stop. They can't, you know. That at the end, that is the biggest lie. Is that Captain America at the end, the speech of one superhero in a star-spangled outfit, a black man in a star-spangled outfit, speaking a truth to the United States government, federal government, the United Nations, the Western governments, and to Wall Street is what will change their heart. That's the biggest lie. That is not what will change. And because at the end, and then they agree. We will allow the global South into the United States and into Europe. We're so sorry. Because Anthony Mackie told us how it is, that the biggest lie is that they fucking care. They don't. The biggest lie is that another major lie, an Ayn Randian lie, who Ayn Rand, famous Atlas Shrugged author, literally wrote the Motion Picture Association for the Preservation of American Values, the entire blueprint for the CIA's Wurlitzer Hollywood big production value entertainment branch. There's the news media, there's the education system, there's public, private schools, and the university system, and the entire intelligentsia, the New York Times. That's all one part of the intelligence operation that is the total manufacturing consent and the matrix of the West. But the Hollywood branch was written by Ayn Rand, and it said, always, never glorify the collective. Always praise the individual and the industrialist and the capitalist. It's the most important lesson, right? And this is still upheld in The Winter Soldier, Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It is a single black, but we're trying to look. We already this idea that like, oh, it's groundbreaking. It's also played up that, oh, Isaiah, in the 60s we didn't have a black Captain America. They will never have a black Captain America. So it's like, oh, it's so groundbreaking that we have a black superhero. We had fucking Black Panther. They will never accept a black Captain America. It's like as if America has somehow changed because now there's a black superhero. There's a fucking black president. That didn't change shit. It got worse actually. More drone bombings, more killing a military deaths and imperialism than the president, the white Republican before him. more mass incarcerations, more border concentration camps, more policing, more impoverishment of the people of color. The worst. Obama. From Hawaii too. That's a lie. Which is that this is groundbreaking. It's not groundbreaking. This is it's a black fucking superhero. It's not groundbreaking. The other lie is a single empowered individual is what will save us. One superpowered he's just so black. He's just so good. He's just so valiant in combat. It's also a military. It's also a U.S. military stormtrooper that's carrying this out. It's a literal imperial troop. He's just he's just a really good American soldier, and he's very black, and he's very good, and he says the word good. And he's like just really good at combat and fighting and punching and kicking and flipping around with his Air Force and military powered drones and missiles that come out of his butthole. Because that's a cool thing to do for fucking science fiction nerds that are working for Lockheed Martin right now and programming the drones and the AI to make more fascists for Facebook. That's what they're all doing. All the cyberpunk nerds are all fucking doing the bidding of the Empire, killing people and creating fascism. Good job, nerds. Good job, Shadowrun and Cyberpunk 2020 players. You learned nothing. Anyways, Cyberpunk has always been bourgeois. That was another important point, though. But Captain America was nobody's speech, not fucking Jesus Christ, not Captain America, not fucking Falcon, not Winter Soldier, not fucking not even Ho Chi Minh or Marx or anybody's speech would be enough to change the hearts of the fucking Wall Street and DC and the EU and the Bundesbank. Are you fucking kidding me? That could be the biggest lie in that. That's the biggest propaganda in the movie. That's what's gonna change shit. It's the liberal plea of an Obama is gonna change DC. It's not necessarily the Flag Smashers, but it is the mass organized, mobilized masses, general strikes, huge collective Black Lives Matter, anti-racist action in the streets, forcing and demanding with actual power, economic power, people power, forcing the change from the hands of the 1% and of the racialized capitalist imperialist United States and its allies. That is what is going to change anything. Not some fucking speech from a 40-year-old Gen X fucking multimillionaire black dude. That was Obama. We did that. That was Kamala. How's it going? Not going very well, is it? No. You're gonna get what? You're gonna give an impassioned fucking speech? Anthony Mackie, you gonna give an impassioned speech? Is that what's gonna? No. Is it? And now after we crushed the socialists, we feel so bad that we killed a bunch of our own. I killed my social. I'm de Blasio, and I killed my own socialist daughter because she joined Antifa. I feel so bad that we have to kill all these Antifa and lock a bunch of them up in Guantanamo and interrogate them and disappear them with all these new laws that we're passing to make it criminal to protest anything. I feel so bad. So now I'm gonna change. Absolutely not. If that worked, all the killing of Native Hawaiians and indigenous people and crushing us would have changed their fucking heart here. I'm in the bluest of the blue states. I'm in the fucking ultra blue liberalist of liberal states. It's the most fascist place I've ever lived in. By the numbers, 6 times more murder of people of color. Worse than Chicago in terms of like the killing people of color and then shutting off the body cams. Worse than Chicago. Which is worse than, in terms of actual killing and mass incarcerating of people of color, that's where it is. It's in the blue liberal states. Not in the red state. The red state is terrible, full of racists, but there's no black people. The ratio is not there. That's why it's all happening. 90% of mass incarceration and mass murder by the numbers in blue states, in blue cities. If the suffering and the deaths of this is what happens in the show. If the left, socialist, anarchist, anti-state, anti-border, equality for the world, justice for the world, young millennial and Gen Z, if their deaths and their murder, like little Romeos and Juliets, if that was enough to change the hearts of Wall Street, DC, the ruling neoliberal, neo-fascist elite that run the United States, and Hawaii, and California, and New York, and Minneapolis, if that was enough to change their fucking heart, There would not be another fucking shooting in Minneapolis, would there? No. There would not be fucking 2 shootings in 2 weeks recently here in Hawaii, would there? No. They will kill every leftist in the world. They will kill their own children. They will kill everyone. They will kill all the black people. It did not change anything. You can tell it to their face. They're like, oh, that's nice. I feel bad now. Not really. I know what I'm doing. They don't want to feel guilty, but they know what they're doing. Ultimately, they don't give a shit, right? So that speech that Falcon gives, that he's gonna win over the ruling classes of the West, of the neoliberal, neo-fascist, imperialist West, that he's gonna win over the billionaire class and the Lockheed Martin CEO with a little fucking speech. However moving, however well written by some fucking coward. As was rightfully pointed out by one, actually, I would say, it's one actual left. Somebody said, oh, the comic book writers, there's lots of leftists in the comic book world. As the Watchmen writer and self-described anarchist Alan Moore has said, the comic book world is full of people who write stories of great, bold, courageous heroes in masks, fighting evil, fighting villains, fighting criminals, right? Fighting injustice on the side of good in the world, right? But these are pictures of men and women in spandex with masks on, punching evil, fighting the Gotham criminals, beating up all of the interstellar horrors. But these are people fighting the criminal injustices in corporations and in politics. But they themselves are all cowards, because they couldn't stand up for Jack Kirby. They couldn't stand up against their own corruption and against their own abusive bosses in the comic industry. And I watched them throw each other under the bus. They could not. They would not. These are people who are cowards in their real lives, and they make millions of dollars sometimes and big careers and get real fancy and go to beautiful cons and then sometimes sexually harass the women at these cons, cosplaying their Spider-Man. And they make huge amounts of money and have fame making their comic books, but they are cowards. They are liberal cowards in their real lives. They haven't stand up for anything. That's Alan Moore. And he said, that's why I'm not going to ever, fuck this comic industry. Like, he hated the way that they did The Watchmen, made by Zack Snyder, Mr. Imperialist in Chief with the 300, with his terrible pro-cop, pro-US military, anti-Muslim takes in his Dawn of the Dead remake. And Alan Moore said, all the comic industry is full of liberal. They're very good at writing beautiful, nice, pretty words and making fun. They're very good at drama, storytelling, and make entertaining. They are very entertaining, but they're all fucking cowards. And I hate these people. This is Alan Moore. And he said, I'm not working in this industry. He left and he went up to North England where they nicked the push iron in the 10-foot up in Hull in the poor industrially exploited parts of north of the UK. He said, fuck these people. And these people think that, and these are the kind of people that think that if I made a good, strong enough speech for my liberal bosses that abuse workers in the comic and the Hollywood industry that I work in, if I made a really hot speech and I said a really good pretty words about how racism bad and global abusing, stopping people from crossing borders and not giving healthcare bad, if I make a really good fucking really eloquent, beautiful speech with lots of Shakespearean and eloquent references and lots of witty jokes that Robert Downey Jr. can ad-lib and make it very scintillating, hot, Galaxy Brain S75 level of witty, smarmy, intelligent comic book satire. It's going to be so smart that I'm going to convince the UK to stop austerity murdering 160,000 people. I'm just going to outwit the liberal elite that run the United States and stop them from killing the black people. If I just make a really good story and I sit on my fucking rich comic book writing, comic book movie making ass and make good storytelling dramas good and say really good things, that's gonna win freedom, actual equality, actual justice, actual housing, healthcare, education, and food and security and shelter for all and for everyone and all the flag smashers. I'm gonna fix the problem that the flag smashers are bringing up with my beautiful words. No, that's the lie. That's the Ayn Randian lie. That it's a strong individual or a smart individual with the fucking world on his, always his shoulders, because Ayn Rand was a self-hating woman. But anyway, the world on his strong, superheroic shoulders. That one strong individual man, usually an industrialist with his smart brain. Wealth is the product of man's capacity to think, and I will think so good. Making my Spider-Man, my Superman, my comic book, my Batman, my Captain Falcon, my Falcon and Winter Soldier, my Black Obama. I'm gonna make it so moving. I'm gonna move the Emperor Palpatines of the world heart, and they're going to like let universal healthcare happen in America and stop all these wars in the rest of the world. That's the, but they're eating their own lie. They're living in their cowardly little dream world called Nerdland, where we sit around and just fucking like make up stories of how courageous and great and all the evil that we fought. And it's very entertaining. It's very entertaining, and it's very much false. The only good movie I've ever seen come out of anywhere near Hollywood is Sorry to Bother You, because at least it tells a story that's about the masses of people organizing and demanding change, really specifically with unionizing your teleconferencing workplace. I mean, and it's not to solve everything, but I mean, at least it's pointing in the right direction, which is it's a single strong individual. It's the masses of people coming together, organizing economically, and yes, there's a racial component there as well, organizing for justice from their collective abusers. You know, and so that Ayn Rand, and it is Ayn Rand who said, "I want to preserve that which makes America the greatest country in the world." This is what she said in her letter to the storytellers of the manufacturers of the American civilization. It's called Hollywood. She said, "This is what you must do." I went through this whole thing on stream, as compared to the Chinese movies, which are centering what? Collectivity, the masses, my people, my homeland, centering poverty alleviation, centering everybody working together, not glamorizing the military, not glamorizing police, not glamorizing single individual saviors, but everybody of China and everybody around the world working together in mutual cooperation to materially alleviate those conditions of houselessness, foodlessness, living under the stars in a rural village in a mountainous area in the Kazakh province, in the autonomous region of Xinjiang, of alleviating those material conditions, which the flag smashers in Falcon and Winter Soldier are rightfully asking for justice over. Why are we denied these basic resources, right? And this is why, this is why, not necessarily like China is only good, but this is why they are the counter-hegemonic force, the biggest in this world. Because they have the highest grossing movie, second highest grossing of 2020 was literally a movie that is the opposite of that which is the most talked about, the biggest grossing movies in America, which is what? All these fucking Marvel superhero movies, which are pro-military, pro-police, pro-America, total lying about all of its imperialist wars, and about strong, individual, American, disproportionately very smart, white, business, billionaire philanthropist arms to their fucking playboys. Right? Like I went over why Iron Man is the story of America for the 21st century already. And the cowboy was for the 50s, which created Reagan, and Iron Man created Elon Musk. He is Elon Musk. And so it is the masses, again, it is the masses of people collectively working together to alleviate and fight against the power, the oppressor classes, against the capitalists, the ruling classes, against the imperialist nations, right? Against the colonizer, the colonized against the colonizer, the racial minorities, the LGBTQ plus, against their cis straight, heteronormative as parts of a hierarchical planetary imperial domination, which is part of the cancer of Europe, the barbarians that are pretending to be civilizations for the last multi-thousands of years. But this, and so centering those collective struggles, what actually has to be done is what actually has to be done in the storytelling, you know, sooner or later. The final solution, I mean, not the final solution, that's the thing. The solution in Falcon and Winter Soldier is the lie, which is that we're just gonna like plead to this Falcon and Winter Soldier. There's a scene. I want to get, where's that scene? Falcon gives, I can't show that it's gonna be a violation, but Falcon gives speech. He gives a big speech to all of the UN and all of the Western leaders, right? And that's what moves them to change their policies, right? It's like Falcon is literally, what that show is saying is, it's literally just push Biden left. Oh, you don't like what it is? Just send out your right to your senator, you know, right to your just kindly ask AOC to be your captain, your female Falcon, Captain America. Have Captain AOC go up to Biden and ask him to please don't do concentration camp, please. It's mean. That's literally what it's saying. You know? Ask politely and try to appeal to the morality of your abuser. What is that quote? No abused person ever got anything by appealing to the morality of their abuser. That's what it is. It's like, please give me some healthcare, please, please. You have to take it. They're not gonna, you know. That's the final lesson at the end of that show. And as opposed to, you know, but again, and also and centering the strong individual as opposed to collective action. As opposed to, you know, centering the military and the police and their goodness. All these things is where I give it negative 75 quadrillion stars out of 5 red, white, and blue stars. Or no, I give Falcon and Winter Soldier 5 red, white, and blue stars out of 5 red, white, and blue stars. It's the most American movie. It is the most American movie for the year 2021. It is the most American movie I've ever seen, which is to say it is atrocious. It is a abomination. It will destroy this world and all the people in it and all the living things. Thanks a lot for that, Hollywood. Fucking terrible genocidal hypocrites for doing more propaganda for your fucking and doing more apologism for your empire. Good job. Now I give it negative 75 trillion silver spooks out of negative 75. Now for the acting, and that's just for the politics of it. For the acting and the entertainment and the writing, as I said, you could be a very good comic writer. You could be very smart, very educated, very erudite. You read every book in the world. You have all the facts, and you know how to craft a storyline that has, that's plot twisty and keeps everyone on the edge of the seat. And Marvel generally does do a good job keeping people entertained. The writers, the actors, you know, Anthony Mackie. I will stand up for Anthony Mackie personally. So like, if you're throwing shade at Anthony Mackie for not being a good actor as an action star, you full of shit, and that's probably some racist bullshit. I don't like the politics of. I actually thought the politics of Altered Carbon was a little bit better. Season 2. And but you know, the acting is fine. The story is like it moves. It's compelling. I mean, that's somebody who's really fucking irritated and frustrated. Holly and me and my friend Positive Synergy, we were like yelling at the TV, like, you know, it was like what the fuck? What is this propaganda? Captain Star Spangled Underpants. Fuck. What is this? America is saving the day in Libya. What the fuck? I was like yelling at the TV, you know. But still, I was like, I kept watching it because I wasn't falling asleep. So like the acting, the writing, the CG, the effects, the entertainment value, the production value, the jokes, the humor, even the characters' like emotional arcs, the intrigue, the mystery, all that stuff was, to me, that was fine. But the problem is it's so good that it makes the propaganda go. It's a really nice, really sugary, really nice, rich chocolate. Chocolate syrup over a strawberry, vanilla, and blueberry, red, white, and blue flavored sundae. It tastes so good, but then the propaganda is right in the heart of that. So you're eating that beautiful sundae, swallowing all that propaganda. It's very well made, you know, as American propaganda is. And it will keep you entertained. And if you got to go to work tomorrow for 12 hours a day because you're working 100 hours a week, it will keep you entertained. And then you go to sleep, you wake up the next day, and you're not, you know, which is the best way to propagandize in a population. Have them so overworked that they have no spoons to even think about what they're watching, and then just dump bullshit in their head like America saved Libya. Dump bullshit in their head like America's saving the world with its wars. Dump bullshit in their head like we just have to like ask the UN and the US and Wall Street kindly. And then they don't have time to think about that it's bullshit. Like, we have some time to think about that it's bullshit because we're like, fuck this bullshit. But the average working class person that's working like, person that's working like their ass off, like really hard all day long, doesn't have the time to think about what they're imbibing. They're just like being brain poisoned with a really tasty USS butterscotch, you know? Anyway, it's 1 o'clock now. Della says they framed the USA as saving Libya. The USA, you're asking about, like literally, I went over this a couple times, but I'll say it one more time, real quick. In Captain America, they spend the good first 10 minutes of the first episode is about how they're gonna stop bad guys from basically getting into Libya, and they're gonna preserve the Libyan border. They're not gonna infringe on the sovereignty of the Libyans. They're gonna maintain the strict border, and they're not gonna infringe on anybody's rights in Libya. It's like America really cares so much about Libya. It's said like several times. It's like it's what heightens they're having basically like a dogfight, air skirmish between the Falcon, and there are enemy jets that are shooting missiles at each other. Falcon is like shooting his retractable wire. He's like a sub drone is coming off of his back and flying around and shooting lasers at the other jets. He's like whipping jets into each other, blowing them up, right? But what really heightens the tension at the beginning is that, oh my goodness, they're coming up on the Libyan border. If we cross the Libyan border, we'll violate their sovereignty, and that is unacceptable. It's like and they're like, and the army on the ground, all of the US military personnel, they're like, Falcon, you gotta pull back, you gotta stop, because we're gonna violate the Libyans people. We're going to infringe on the Libyan people's rights. It's like a huge plot point. Like, the military really cares so much about the Libyans. You know, that one really fucking annoyed me. You know, but again, you're not. If you're just a random American, you're watching this, you're like, oh yeah, no, that's right, yeah, no, I don't want somebody coming in, you know, my border. America really cares about those Libyans. Look at those U.S. generals and colonels and captains. Look at Falcon. He's a military soldier. They care so much about those Libyans. We care so much. Disgusting. Because America bombed them into the Stone Age, killed thousands of them, caused poverty, devastation, and now the slave markets. This is disgusting. And as a native Hawaiian, being illegally occupied by the United States Empire, I can personally tell you, as somebody whose borders have been horrifically violated and entire cultural genocided for the last 100+ years, I can personally tell you, from personal experience, the United States does not give two shits about borders or people's sovereignty. They commit international law violations every fucking second of the day. Every second of the day that they're here. So that, again, just personally, I'm like, it's disgusting to watch this show that makes America look like it gives a shit about anybody's sovereignty, borders, and legitimate governments. The United States, all of the United States is an illegitimate settler, colonial, genocide, and slavery-based non-government. All of it is illegitimate. So that is just, you know, that's the height of hypocrisy right there. I asked if we had to keep watching it every week, but we decided to watch it so we could talk about it on the Stream Chat. I mean, I did want to talk about it because it's important. I mean, I don't watch it because I want to get propaganda. I'm watching it because I want to know what the Western imperial structure, I want to know what the Emperor Palpatine's in their Death Stars laying out the plans, you know, what are the stormtroopers watching in their little TVs in their bunkers in their AT-AT walkers and their Star Destroyers and in their little bases. You know, I'm not watching this because it is entertaining, but I want to know what they're saying to their own, stormtroopers with Excel spreadsheet characteristics, with university professor characteristics, because universities are just methods of academic imperialism, to their children that are growing up in this bullshit, and to their own military and police, obviously the literal stormtroopers that are waterboarding children in Iraq and blowing up Uyghurs as we speak, in Afghanistan. I want to know what they're telling these people, because then we have to respond to that. Again, Carly Morgenthau did and said nothing wrong. Hey, Michael Mendez. Like reading a Jordan Peterson book. Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't necessarily, you're not reading that because you're like, oh yeah, you know what? When now I can be a liberated, straight cis white alpha testosteronated man bull, because I pet every skateboarder that I saw on the street, and I say hi to all of the cats that I meet, and I never allow my little children to do anything that would make me dislike them, or whatever bullshit that Jordan Peterson said. I'm reading it for fucking self-help advice, like half of the entire North America does, which is very sad. We have some Holly has a brother who has bought a copy of Jordan Peterson's book for every single one of his founding members. That's $700 worth of Jordan Peterson. We're watching the movie so we know what's happening. Hey, Michael Mendez. Speaking of colonized peoples, Michael Mendez is a colonized person from Puerto Rico under the illegal occupation and horrific abuses of the U.S. Empire. So from Puerto Rico and Hawaii, so solidarity from Hawaii to Puerto Rico, from the two two of the internal colonies of the U.S. Empire. Your government just privatized our electricity, which there are going to be multiple blackouts for the next couple of months. Sounds awesome. That's pretty terrible. That is pretty terrible. So yeah, Michael Mendez, do follow Michael Mendez. You want some education about some real horrors that the United States has done? Check out Michael Mendez's channel. It's the one place that is a territory of the United States that the United States has done U.S. military airstrikes and actually bombed the citizens. Like in Hawaii, they do military strikes, but they bomb 6 miles from us. They're currently bombing here. They're currently dropping mortars, Predator drone-fired Hellfire missiles, and B-52 launched high explosive cluster bombs, or several bombing munitions all over our sacred mountain, Mauna Kea. 30 miles from where I am, they're still doing it right now. Not this second, but at night usually. You can hear it at night. It's like, it sounds like thunder, but it's like imagine 12 thunderclaps happening in the span of 3 seconds. Boom, 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 like firecrackers. Thunder happens when there's storm and rain clouds. We have an active shield volcano that ejects 40-foot high walls of 3,000 degree pyroclasm lava. But when that one has an explosion due to hyper heated moisture, and then there's a kind of explosion, you can hear the volcano exploding, but it's like one boom and that's it. But when they're bombing 30 miles from where Silver Spook streams, the U.S. military preparing to bomb China and the Uyghurs, they actually, the same B-52s they used to bomb in Hawaii on Mauna Kea, Pohakaloa training facility, they drop 15,000 pounds of C4 equivalent on the mountain. The same B-52s, they fly them up to the border of Afghanistan and China, and they blow up Uyghurs there. That's where America commits genocide against Uyghurs, the actual genocide. And at night, they're bombing here. They're dropping mortars. But thankfully, in Puerto Rico, in Iraq, they don't drop it 6 miles from you or 30 miles. They drop it right on top of your face. On the Uyghur, if you're a Uyghur from China, they just drop it. Like if you cross the border over one time because you're ETIM and you're backed by the U.S. CIA to foment extremism, and then you're crossing the border. If you go over to Afghanistan or anywhere on the border there, they just drop the bomb on your face. In Hawaii, they only commit genocide against the Hawaiians in the dark alley with the police killing 6 times more native Hawaiians with police gunfire per capita than white people. Actually worse than America. They only kill Hawaiians by poisoning their water supply with 180 million gallons of biodiesel for the U.S. military's aircraft carriers and battleships that are currently leaking into our aquifers, poisoning my family. Almost put my friend Positive Synergy, into the hospital. Comes out smelling like burning plastic and leaves a bright orange residue like a fucking orange peel. Like rust in your water. But it's actually U.S. It's part of it is part of it is like rotten pipes, and then also U.S. military fuel leaking into our water supply. So they genocide you with diabetes, and they lock, most of my family and friends and all the kids that I lock them up in prison. They just kill you with like poverty. That's how they genocide you in Hawaii as a Native Hawaiian. They ban your language. They ban your culture. They arrest 8,000 of you on Mauna Kea asking for the U.S. military to stop fucking illegally occupying and stop building mega projects that will poison us as well. And then they fly Black Hawk choppers over you. They shine lights in their face, but they don't murder you unless it's the police in a dark alley. Sometimes not though. Sometimes it's like you remember Psycap, and they just they have a Pacific Islander, and the police just fire their entire fucking clip into their car, and then they just kill them like that. And then they don't release body cam footage, which is what they did 2 weeks ago. So they can genocide you with police, usually not the military. They use the military when they go farther away. Although technically, the depleted uranium rounds that are currently leaching radioactivity in the Waianae Kalo fields here in Hawaii, technically that's the military killing us with radiation, though. That's technically, there is so much radiation on our mountain, in fact, that Native Hawaiian activists that went to stop the bombings of Pakala, because fun fact, whenever the U.S. drops a military bomb, which they're dropping them all over here, you kidding me? This is the head of the Indo-Pacific Command. Wherever the U.S. drops its military munitions, there is vast quantities of radiation and other pollutants that are not even, it's unknown what exactly is in it. But Hawaiian activists who were protesting the bombing of Pauakuloa in that area became so sick from radiation poisoning that they lost like half their body weight or huge amounts of their body weight. They're like sick, their hair fell out. Just being near where America is bombing illegally our sacred mountain, they become radiated. Native Hawaiian. So America's committing genocide against us in those ways. So if you want to talk about, I did a whole stream with my friend Luna Oi, Vietnamese communist woman. That's just, everybody there is actually based, they actually have educations there, unlike in the United States. But Luna Oi, I was on the Luna Oi channel doing a stream specifically about genocide. And I'm a social worker whose job it was to do poverty alleviation. That's what China did for 850 million people plus people. That was my job. I did Chinese style poverty alleviation. The only difference was I was paid so little that I lived in a fucking car and was malnourished and also almost died doing poverty alleviation in the United States. And most of the kids that I helped to poverty alleviate as a social worker here wound up in prison. Because America doesn't really do poverty alleviation. There's a little token poverty alleviation, and it pays the poverty alleviators nothing to do it. So I work with Puerto Ricans. Some of the kids that I work with were Puerto Ricans as well. The Puerto Rican Association here has the best Mexican food, Mexico restaurant, Kalihi Valley. You ever been to Hawaii? Kalihi Valley, Kalihi Palama area, it's the ghetto. I mean, it's gonna be scary for you. You're gonna come there, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's where all the gunfire is. That's where all the people, oh my God. There were US military, Air Force, and naval officers that came to the area that I'm from, and they were scared. Like, what the fuck? I thought you're the US military. Oh my God, there's like ghettos and gangs around here. Why are there homeless people? There could be, this is really shady area. They ran away. It's like, you're fucking white, you're US military trained. You can handle some hoodlums in fucking Hawaii, can't you? Fucking cowards. Anyways, so that's the area that I worked in, though. It's because we had some friends that were in the we had some friends that were in the military, stationed in Hickam and all the military bases here. 20% of all the land here is owned by the U.S. military. It's the biggest. It is the Death Star in Hawaii. It's where Edward Snowden leaked all of the fucking intelligence community's fucking dirty laundry, and in this area, yeah, that I worked in. Kids had fucking Holly pointed out also, I never, and this is what Neofeud in my game is all about, I never once called the police or anyone on any of the kids. They had guns in my classroom. They had knives and shit. They had drug. I had people come in fucking have knife fights in my fucking classroom. I never called the cops one time. If I did, the police in Hawaii police in Hawaii murder people of color more than the continental U.S. police. So I would never do that. But I didn't. I de-escalated situation. I have no de-escalation training. I have not even, I have a fucking computer science BA. So these cops that are murdering everybody, oh, I don't know how to de-escalate. The kid had an air freshener. I thought it was a gun. I thought it was a very sweet strawberry banana flavored gun. I had to fucking kill him. No, the cops are trained to murder people. It's called, there's actually, I watched a police training video. David Grossman, I believe he's cited by American Sniper. He's the world police murderer. He goes around to Iraq and then murders people and then blows his brain out because he's a sick individual, which is a normal thing for an American to be. He trains the police. This guy, he's the guy who's cited by American Sniper in his book. And he literally says, you should feel good. When you kill someone, you should feel good. You should get a high from it. It's like an adrenaline rush. Like running, it's like beating a video game or like, skydiving. You should feel real great when you kill people. Don't feel bad about it. Feel good. Because you're killing bad guys. This is a person who trains the police forces in America. So that's why I worked for a decade in the ghettos of the impoverished Puerto Ricans, Filipino human traffic, Filipino gang. You kidding me? I mean, it's not their fault. It's just like poverty-filled areas of Hawaii. There are Bloods and Crips. There's gangs. They have guns. They have fucking knives. They got all that shit. There was like a stabbing. There's like several stabbings per week at one point in the area that I worked in. And I had to go up and try to get to come down. Now, everybody's not running around stabbing each other. It's just like you get into crime, you're selling meth. Somebody's like, "Fuck you on my territory," and then somebody pulls a gun, and then somebody's dead. Most of the time you're not in that much jeopardy unless you're like you're fighting over fucking drug turf, right? And so you don't get into people's business, you won't get yourself fucking killed. Right? So I worked in this area as a social worker with kids in my fucking class in the literal Bloods and Crips. They're like, fuck this class. I'm gonna sell meth. I can make $2,000-$3,000 a month. Why the fuck would I go to your shitty ass social work? Why would I go to your Chinese poverty? America doesn't do poverty alleviation. They try. I did my best to do poverty alleviation. Right? And I'm like, why the fuck should I come do your math and your science? Why should I get a diploma to my face? Fuck you. Who the fuck are you? I'm not gonna do your class. And my job was to call them up every day and be like, hey, T-boy, you gotta come to class. That's why they hired me, because I look like them. I'm from the same area. You gotta come to class, okay? You gotta put that gun down. Look at your friend. Your friend is dead. Look at this newspaper clipping. Look at this. It's your friend fucking dead. Shot downtown Honolulu. U.S. military got in a fight in Waikiki. Dead. In prison. Look at your father. Dead. In prison. You wanna be like him? You don't wanna... And I learn how to rap. We give carrots. You're like, hey, come to class and we'll feed you food that isn't fucking red dye filled fucking yellow dye number 40 Twinkies and garbage food. Come into my class. We'll do some social work. You ever tried doing poverty alleviation, like for real? Most Americans don't, because they're a bunch of selfish fucking pricks. You ever tried doing actual poverty alleviation, which is what the biggest thing of the entire, that's what the Vietnam and that's what the Chinese are doing for 1 billion people, more than fucking three Americas. You ever tried doing that? It's not easy. You ever tried changing human behavior, like for real, like actually like getting people who are like in self-destructive behavior and community destructive behavior? You ever tried like getting them and then like endangering your life? I see everybody leaving because there are a bunch of Americans in here. That's fine. It's not easy, and the poverty alleviation is so key. It is like what we need, not fucking superheroes, not fucking U.S. military and police, is what we need. I wish it would be great if America had social workers that weren't just ripping indigenous people's children from their parents' arms and then putting them with abusive white families to kill the Indian, save the man bullshit. I wish that wasn't but so America still has boarding schools. America still does that. America does that to Native Hawaiians. That's another way that you commit genocide. If you're an American, your country is committing genocide against me, personally. Thanks a lot. By ripping Native Hawaiian children from parents and then putting them with abusive, non-Native parents. You know how I know this? Because I work with these children. I watch them be abused. I watch them show up with the fucking physically and mentally scarred. Disproportionately Native Hawaiians. That's how I know your country commits genocide. That's one version of it, and then there's all the other ones that I already brought up. So, if you want to hear about that, watch the stream I did with Luna Oi. Yeah, you know, and so, you know, but Puerto Ricans, you know, Puerto Ricans were really, they have the best, you know, in that area, Cali, Palama, Mexico restaurant, okay? It's one of the best restaurants there. It's okay. Don't be scared if you're a U.S. military fucking coward, you know? Why the fuck? I thought your job is to go around the world and murder innocent people, just go into areas and just kill. I thought you kill bad guys or something. Oh, that's right. You only go and you fucking American snipe all the brown people and you notch your belt, you fucking racist KKK member. That's what you do. Oh, that's right. You're a bunch of fucking American sniping cowards. Oh, I want to just fly my PS4 drone and play Call of Colonialism from 5,000 miles away and blow up children in preschools in Iraq. Oh, that's what I want to do. I'm a fucking coward. Just like all the Marvel comic book writers. Writing liberal bullshit. So, but if you aren't a cowardly ass piece of shit and you come to Hawaii, there's a good restaurant in the ghetto where I'm from. It's called Mexico Restaurant. Don't run away like those military servicemen and women that ran away. Because it looks poor. So that means I'm gonna get mugged. I'm gonna get mugged by some brown dark people. That's literally what they were saying. That's what they're saying. They're like, oh, is this so scary? I can't come into your area, Silver Spook. It's too dark and scary for my military trained ass. Use your grenade launch. Use one of your 7 grenade launchers that you bought for you and donated by the kindergarten police from California. Use one of your fucking Captain America drones if you get scared. You know, just fly a fucking drone. Use your aircraft carrier. Just use your fucking multi-billions of dollars worth of aircraft carrier if you get scared of the fucking ghetto, you fucking coward American military. Anyways, so, but the Puerto Rican Association, the Puerto Rican Community Association had like some of the best food down there. It's where we always went. But it's the area, it's where all the migrants live. It's where all the migrants are. It's where they hire it's where all the $3 an hour Omakal Ice restaurant workers, where all the abused people in the hotel industry in Waikiki work. And you know, it's just a giant internal colony. It's disgusting. It's the most unlivable place in the United States economically. You will survive. It's not as dangerous as they like to make it seem. Whenever I tell somebody, oh, I live in this area, Kalihi, I'm in Kalihi, I used to have to flip like TVs and fans and shit on Craigslist. And if anybody that wasn't from the area I was calling up, they would like, oh, I'd be like, yeah, come down and I'll sell you this TV. Because you know what? Because I was making so little money when I was working that I had to literally flip fucking televisions off the street, pick up a CRT TV, put it in the back of my 30-year-old rusting Toyota, drive it down to somewhere else and sell it. I was everything short of selling meth. We were about to have a child. I was like fucking selling fans and shit. I was just running down the street trying to make any money that I could. Sell all my whatever guitar that I had when I was a kid. So I sold everything. Because my hours got dropped and then the wages weren't enough. I couldn't fix my car. I was walking to work, doing social work, doing poverty alleviation. Because that's what America pays poverty alleviators. That's how America treats poverty alleviators, right? Like fucking garbage. Anyways, and teachers too. Anybody, you're essential services, nurses, America treats them like fucking shit. And so, you know, like, but it's necessary. It is necessary work. I wish that America did social. If America needs to do a Chinese-style poverty alleviation, it was calculated that to do poverty alleviation for multi-hundred million Americans, it's really, you need a multi-hundred million that actually really need it. Because actually most of America can't afford their basic housing and their infrastructure falling apart. You go into the rural village in Guangzhou, in the Hubei province, into autonomous region, right? And then you build the houses. America needs fucking houses built. That's part of the poverty alleviation. Most of the houses in America, most of the pipes in the water infrastructure, electrical infrastructure, the roads are fucking falling apart. That's part of the poverty alleviation. Biden is pretending like he's gonna fucking donate $5 trillion to this. He ain't gonna do it. It's mostly gonna go to fucking billionaires. But if America needs a actual poverty alleviation program, it was estimated that it would cost $250 billion, 1/3 of the U.S. military budget, to do a Chinese-style poverty alleviation program, like an actual social work, actual like at scale, necessary level of an army of social workers going to all the impoverished areas, mostly black and brown communities, rebuild their pipes, rebuild their roads, build them fucking housing, train people, get people into housing, get them into jobs, get them educated, get them what they need. America needs a Chinese-style poverty alleviation program. China has eliminated absolute poverty. Wages have quadrupled while American real wages have floundered by like if you add in the cost of housing, education, and healthcare, the average American wage has actually gone down 4 times. I calculated it once. Right? What your wage, the wage flatline, but what the wage buys you in your necessary goods, college prices, right, through the roof, housing prices through the roof. You've actually, your wage has actually is quadruple times smaller. It's gone down 4 times. China's average wage has gone up 4 times. America has to. Biden is pretending like he's gonna copy the Chinese solution, but he's not gonna actually do it. That's the problem. But that's what needs to happen. Biden's not gonna do it because for the same reason why Captain America giving a fucking speech to the Wall Street and DC doesn't do shit. Biden is gonna pretend like he's gonna poverty alleviate and give you healthcare, housing, rebuild your infrastructure and your houses and your roads and education. But he's not going to do it. You know why? Because nothing has changed about the material power structure of the United States. That's lip service to make him look like America. It's just to make America look like it gives a fuck about its people. Because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have 100 million food insecurity. It's embarrassing to have black people murdered. It's not because they care. To get an actual Chinese-style poverty alleviation programs, to have silver spooks, to have 100 million silver spooks going to every home in America, going into the poor areas, learning and speaking in their language, teaching them how to do basic things. Like, my job was to teach kids who, like, literally they didn't know how to show up to a fucking job interview or anything. They're like, oh, I just, like, come away smelling like pot. They're, like, drunk. Like, learning how to just show up to school was part of my job, right? Teaching kids, like, you don't just throw trash on the ground. Like, some people, the kids from Marshall Islands, the kids from Palau, the third world country kids, they don't know that trash goes in trash cans. It's like, part of my job was, okay, kids, let's clean up our area. Trash goes in, because they live in a tiny atoll, and nobody taught them anything. That's part of poverty alleviation program that the Chinese do. Trash goes in trash. I mean, it seems like a simple thing, but nobody taught you that. You take your McDonald's wrapper, you throw it on the ground. You take your Spam can, because you only got Spam, you're dying of diabetes. You take your Spam can, you throw it on the ground. Teaching people how to live their life that's part of my job. That's part of social work. That's part of poverty alleviation. That's what China does for 1 billion people. That's what America pretends to do, but it doesn't do. It should do it. It must do it. It won't do it until the masses of the people in what calls itself the United States rise up, strike, shut the fucking goddamn country down, and demand that it happen. Biden's $5 trillion plan is $5 trillion worth of yachts, penthouses, and Gucci. That's where it's gonna go. Just like the last $5 trillion. Remember last year? They printed technically like 28 trillion, but 6 trillion on the books. You know where the 6 trillion went? You know where it went, right? It went through fucking JP Morgan, the richest Wall Street firms, fucking private equity, corporate buybacks, and more Nancy Pelosi ice cream. That's where it went. You feeling that? Are you feeling that? Are you feeling the 6 trillion? You're not gonna feel this 5 trillion. You need the Chinese-style poverty alleviation, but you're not gonna get it until you fucking force it. You're gonna. This is the paradox. I mean, this is why Captain America is such terrible propaganda. The Falcon and Winter Soldier is such terrible propaganda. You need the flag smashers, the literal villains who are mass organizing for across borders with international solidarity for the rights of all human beings of Earth, with direct action. Now, obviously, when they get in, the people like the stuff happens and we can't condone violence. That would be illegal. That would be a violation of TOS. But mass organizing from a left perspective internationally is what America would need to get its people healthcare, housing, education, and all the things that it needs, and end the wars, right? And they are the villains in Falcon and Winter Soldier. They're like, that's the opposite of what we're supposed to do. What we're supposed to do is politely ask Biden to give us healthcare with very eloquent speeches. That's what we're supposed to write, really nice letters with MLA formatting and a works cited to our senators. That's what Falcon and Winter Soldier is asking you to do. That's what Falcon models. Make a nice little speech. like AOC, make a little speech and do nothing, right? And what the flag smashers, right, what the left is actually doing, the left are literally the villains in this Hollywood blockbuster. The left are the villains. The worst part is like, it's you know, as terrible it is when it's like, oh, Liam Neeson's children getting taken by evil Russians. Oh, the Red Dawn, evil Asian yellow peril coming in and blowing up DC. Oh my goodness, all these evil, you know, drug dealers from Central South America coming to, you know, murderers and rapists coming into a nice white suburb. We're gonna rape your wife and kill your daughter. That's all terrible propaganda. Making the bad guys Central South Americans, painting them all as drug dealers and criminals, painting Muslims as Iraqi terrorists, as Islamist terrorists, painting all of the Russians as evil empire gonna hack and destroy your country. That's really bad propaganda. You know what's even more sick though? Is taking your own daughters and sons and non-binary children, millennial and Gen Z, even white Americans and Europeans, and you know, and just your own children, and then calling them the enemy and going like, you know who's the enemy? All the socialists. You know who's the enemy? All the Black Lives Matter activists. You know who's the enemy? Anarchists. You know who's the enemy? Everyone in the stream. You're all the enemy. You're all that's and we have to kill them. We have to crush them. We have to crush our own children. You know, I say that on these streams a lot from time to time, right? Neofeudalism is about America cannibalizing itself, right? It doesn't make Boeing planes, it doesn't make GM trucks, it doesn't make fucking streets or roads or water supplies, right? And then it takes out all that money that would have gone to productive infrastructure, to people, to making actual goods and services that people need, rebuilding the country that it needs, giving people healthcare actually, right? And then gives it straight to the billionaire class so they can buy 10 more fucking yachts, which is not productive at all, which actually decreases the total productive capacity and the life of the majority of people in the United States. It's self-cannibalization, hyper-financialization, right? And this Falcon and Winter Soldier is the admittance that is what America is doing. And then criminalizing people asking for just a little bit of even some kind of little bit of sock them something. But the kids are actually for social debate. Please do something for the masses, right? And they're saying the solution is kill your own children. If they ask, if they become leftists, imprison, crush, brutalize, destroy, disrupt COINTELPRO, and annihilate your own children. That's really, it's just sad. You know, it's terrible when it's Russian propaganda. It's really dangerous when it's anti-China propaganda. It's terrible when it's South and Central American bad guys and Eastern terrorist bad guys. You know, that's really fucked up and fucking terrible. But you know, it's just like, it's really disgusting and sad when America is criminalizing its own fucking millennial and Gen Z children. It's just fucking sad. You know, but it's also, you know, it's vindicating for me, but it's horrifying. I don't like being vindicated, because if I'm right, that means the world is getting more fucked up. But when I say like America is willing to sacrifice its own 35, 40-year-old and younger generations that don't buy fully into neoliberalism, and most people don't have a deal for that, right? Most people, if you're not making 90 to 150,000 a year or more in most of America, which lives mostly in and around the cities, and then now even the sprawls outside of cities, you are in poverty, right? Which means that, you know, and statistically most of the younger generations are in the left. That's where they're going. Even admitted by the National Review, a conservative magazine, the millennial and Gen Z generations are not becoming more conservative as they get older. They recently admitted this. So what does that mean? Not we should give them something. The solution is continue to cannibalize our own children. Continue to cannibalize the tens of millions of younger kids that are struggling, that are Uberized. Just keep Uberizing them. And then more police, more prison, more brutalization, you know? I mean, it's bad enough when you do that to people in the rest of the world. It's bad enough when you do that to the indigenous people, when you do that to the black and brown people, Hispanics at the border. That's absolutely abominable. It's not, you know? But the saddest and sickest thing is you're going to do that to your own fucking, you know, anthropology college professors that are joining a socialist party. You know, they're coming for the, you know? It's just like, wow, you are gone. You are fucking so fucking far gone. You're like literally like fucking Titan, Cronus the Titan who ate his own children, you know? That's the level of, you know, as a great Western myth. the gods of the Greeks, you know, that bit their children in half rather than see them be their own power be subsumed. The West is fulfilling that myth now. You know, you ever seen that picture of Cronus, the god Cronus, biting his son, chewing on his own son's body, like just rather than see him be subsumed by, but rather than lose any power. That's what America is doing right now. Just chomping on them little kids. Oh yeah, no, keep working at McDonald's. Yeah, no, fuck you. Yeah, go be a leftist. I'm gonna fucking round your ass up in Guantanamo. Very sad. Anyways, that's a depressing thought. So let's think about something else before we go. It's 1:35. I have to permanently wear my body. No fate. I'm trying to get comrades to start acting and organizing and building trust with each other, so we can organize and actually change behavioral conditions. I mean, again, so I mean, all the negatives aside, because the liberal and neoliberal elite are doing this, it's to be expected. That doesn't mean stop. That means you must continue to organize and do these things. They think that ultimately, there's still a limited number of police and military. There's a lot of money, but there's still a limited number of police. The fact that Derek Chauvin was convicted is not a testament to, it is not a mistake that they're releasing Falcon and the Winter Soldier right as the Chauvin trial is going on, obviously. Total propaganda. It is not a testament to the Biden administration, the United States ruling class, having been moved by a great speech to have gifted Chauvin, to have gifted people, and specifically black people, the gift of Chauvin's conviction. It's not justice, let's be clear. It's just not letting him go. That's all it is. It's like it's a slight inching towards maybe some slight accountability, but it's not even accountability really, right? It is, but the win that is even that Chauvin has been convicted is not a victory of some very good, pretty Captain America speech or anything that the liberals have done. It is the masses of people. It is 31 million plus people that have been out in the streets, that have been active online and offline in the Black Lives Matter actions and in other related actions, indigenous actions, left actions, the tenants, all the strikes, all this action, but especially Black Lives Matter actions that have fucking nearly set the entire country on fire for months and months and months and months and months. And the threat that the riots and the uprisings and the resistance of the masses, not of some liberal, the masses, some of them left, but not exclusively, just the masses of people, but we must move them more into more better informed formations, obviously. But it is the uprisings of the masses of the people that have won even that conviction. And if anything else is to be won, it will not be because Captain America, a Falcon, Winter Soldier, Iron Man, any liberal, any good speech, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, any American politician, executive, governor changes their heart. It will be because they were forced. They are admitting now that they will go to war with. They have always been, but they now will literally go to war with their own children, their own left children, and their own masses. They will go to war full on with their own people, and rather than change anything about the power structures that benefit them. And so, if anything is to be won, it will be because of the mass organization of the people online and offline in a variety of ways. And obviously, specifically, land back, decolonization, supporting the legitimate claims of the Sioux people, Lakota people, Native Hawaiian people, the other indigenous peoples of so-called America on Turtle Island, in collaboration with the black people, the Hispanic people, Chicano peoples, African peoples, the Asian peoples that have also been historically and are having exponential increases in anti-Asian violence and murder done against them. And it will be all of these people in collaboration with other, some people don't want to think about this one, but I mean, it will be in collaboration with other parts of the world that are on their side as well. that will win any change. You know, the Chauvin is an important symbolic, but that's not a real material victory. When Chauvin was convicted, there's like how many people were shot in that just in that trial alone by police? How many innocent people of color were murdered just during the Chauvin's trial in Minneapolis? A victory would be 0 police murders. You know, kind of like what Vietnam has. You know, for the last 3 years in a row. A victory would be like the alleviation of the poverty of the United States, kind of like what China has done. You know, it would be 0 COVID, like Vietnam and China have done. That would be a victory. That would be a victory. You're not even close. But it is not impossible. But it will require continued mass organization of the people to get there. Anarcho spookism does have some appealing arguments, though. I got that from him. I remember it. We'll get there, but I just need to organize and get logistics and new power structures. But yeah, so you know, you got to get the, you know, you have to get the, you know, power structures built however you can. As I said, anyway, so I got to finish up because we're getting later. The Silver Spook is a worker cooperative of myself, Holly Argent, my friend Positive Synergy, also known as Kama, who is another native Hawaiian. Here we live, you know, it's not really Silver Spookism. We live by Aloha Aina, fulfilling Kuleana, Uamal Ke'ea Oka Aina Ika Pono. The life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness and living Pono, righteousness. These are indigenous native Hawaiian values that transcend even the most long-bearded white dudes, stormtrooper brain-addled plagiarization of indigenous peoples. They contributed to things, but their brain were deeply addled by their European colonial racist realities, you know? And here on the Big Island of Hawaii, we create anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-racist cyberpunk video games. Unlike Grand Theft Auto, we skin with 80s retro future neon liberalism that is Cyberpunk 2077, such as Neofeud, where we have no bosses and we have no landlords here at the Silver Spook Commune. We're currently trying to expand. We actually are in the process of possibly expanding to have like possibly an acre or so, more than what we have right now. And we will be working on more games. Positive Synergy is helping rebuild parts of the structures to liberate more Hawaiians from their literal genocide. My parents are 7 years old. They can't retire. They are dying. The water is coming out poisonous. They are struggling. The COVID-19 is still very high in Oahu. They cannot afford to retire. They are in an abusive workplace situation. The landlord is abusive as well. And they will be homeless very soon. So if they do not get another living, so we're gonna working with my parents and other Native Hawaiians, not only Native Hawaiians, but Hawaiians, people from Hawaii, Hawaiian people in Hawaii. But we have also brought in homeless American college professors who were teaching with 8-year degrees, teaching at accredited universities like the University of Michigan, who were literally homeless. We housed them for almost a year or half a year. We don't discriminate based on where you're from, but we do ask the people at the Silver Spook hui. Hui is a word that transcends it's actually a multi-thousand-year-old word that goes all the way back to Vietnam and China. As I learned from Luna Oi, hui is the word that means to work together, a cooperative. It means what a worker cooperative has come to mean. Very late stage in the imperial Western, fucking barbarian shithell that is Europe. The word cooperative, English is a broken language, so is Spanish, German. It's hard to even convey concepts in your disgusting language that's full of heteropatriarchy and ownership. The word aina doesn't equate to property. There's no word that means what the Hawaiian words mean, because all English words are buried alive in hierarchical language and in rapist language, actually. So, but here at the Hawaiian hui, which approximately means worker cooperative, we work together on in video games. We maintain housing. We build other hale or housing. We do Ike. My daughter, or our daughter, recently. Oh, we also share carrying responsibilities. We can. Guess why? Because we live in a place where there have been 0 evictions for 5 years. Name anywhere in the United States or Canada, is so-called America or Canada, where there have been 0 evictions for 5 years. And so the power structure here is by Hawaiian values much more. Now there are many people coming in, and we hope that it doesn't change. We are dialectical, but which is why I want more Hawaiians to come back here, and I want more better. I want leftists that are in solidarity and are working in full solidarity and with the Native Hawaiian, indigenous, like OG actual leftists, actual socialists, actual anarchists. But it's really not. It's aloha aina kuleana pono. It's Hawaii with some socialist characteristics. We've read we've read the Marx and the Kropotkin and all the anarchist and socialist books. And they're important to address Europeanism, COVID strain. It's like capitalism is feudalism, AS variant 1.66, you know? And then you need Marx. But before you have your disgusting invention of capitalism, you don't really need Marx. It's only after that. You only need Yanis Varoufakis' techno-feudal post-capitalist analysis with Another Now, right? Famous Greek leftist thinker and organizer for DiEM25. You only need that after you have capitalism NF1667 variant, you know, like COVID strain, you know, jabs that you don't have because you're dying because America is fucking you over. But to treat the neo-feudalism virus variant, you need new analysis that is beyond, you know, the sales of property, the sales of goods with the private owns of means of production, because America doesn't require the selling of anything. America can just print money and give it to its rich, and then you can make more money as a Boeing executive crashing more planes than you sell. That's what it means, post-capitalism. But you don't need that. If the world had been led in indigeneity as it had been for tens of thousands of years before the advent of the cancer of Europe that spread to the rest of the world in the colonial era, you wouldn't need the Westernism vaccine 1.667 of Yanis Varoufakis, because you would not get to that point. You only need that when you have this conflagration of the spreading disgusting ways of being that are imperial, that are extractive, that are dominational, and then it evolve new strains. Like feudalism evolves into capitalism, and capitalism evolves into like its later forms of imperialism, and then it's really the whole time. But I mean, extreme, more neoliberal, neocolonial, more advanced WTO forms of capitalism, and then post-capitalism, which is we make nothing, we sell nothing, we just eat our children, and then fucking burn all of our California and Texas. So you don't need those. You only need them because you've got so far away from indigeneity into imperialism that you've invented more and more and more bizarre strains. You only get super mutants in India and in California of the P2 or the Brazilian and UK and South African variant all merged into one ultra mutant strain that is 20 times more contagious, defeats all vaccines. You only get super strains when you allow the plague, the biological lung and bloodstream clotting based plague of COVID-19 to fester. Do you get these super variants? If you didn't allow it to fester, like there's no Chinese variants and Vietnamese variants because they don't allow COVID-19 disease to fester. There's no Chinese variant of super post neo-feudal capitalism because they don't allow that to fester there. Now they let in some with the reforms, and they need to deal with that in a nuanced and dialectical way. But they don't have new ultra forms of Vietnamese capitalism that are like evolving at the speed of light. Like the way that they're evolving new forms of capitalism in New York every second. That's what all the best minds of our generation went straight to a Harvard MBA, and now they're inventing new ways to rip off the rest of the world for all of its wealth. Right? So they're creating capitalism. They're creating Western imperial extractive strains of barbarism in Wall Street as fast as they're cooking up new strains of COVID in New York City. You know what I'm saying? So that's another way to think about it. I mean, it's really Chinese with socialism characteristics. It's really Vietnam is Vietnam with communism characteristics. Cuba is Cuba with socialism characteristics. You know, Hawaii is Hawaiian values incorporating what we need to know about neo-feudalism, about post-capitalist techno-feudalism, about colonialism, about advanced, high-frequency trading algorithm programming, about non-fungible tokens, which I know enough about, and it's another very fun strain. It's basically Sotheby's $1 million Banksy auctions of shredded bananas with digital character. But converted for the digital form. It's like Zoom international money laundering. Is what it is. Which the entire art world is just money laundering for billionaires. And so NFTs are socially distanced billionaire blood money laundering. But you have to understand what that is, because they're gonna try to destroy you with that. Anyways, it's like, if there was no West doing this ridiculous, coughing capitalism and COVID into each other's lungs, we wouldn't have to deal with all these fucking strains. So this is why China and a lot of African countries, they're like the vaccine inequality. I'll talk more about that next in the evening, because we're running out of time. But the vaccine inequality, I should admit, we also reiterate, China has sold and donated tens of millions of the vaccine to very poor countries that really can't afford none of it, and they are selling at reasonable prices to all countries in the global South, Brazil, South America, Africa, all around the world that America and the UK are giving absolutely nothing to. They're hoarding, and China and Russia have, with other global South countries, including China, Russia, and Cuba, and Vietnam, have all backed a WTO waiver of intellectual property rights so that any country can produce the vaccine, a generic form. Any country can produce a generic form without paying fealty to fucking Bill Gates or some Western corporation. China, again, they have problems, obviously, right? They have to deal with some of these problems, particularly in the former colonial eras in the Southeast, particularly in Taiwan, particularly in these areas that America loves to try to rip off, because they're all parts of America's colonial legacy and Britain's colonial Hong Kong legacy, which had zero democracy. It's funny, they talk about democracy in Vietnam when they had the literal governor general with zero democracy in Hong Kong less than 30 years ago. But anyways, but they said, no, we're behind anyone having vaccines that needs the vaccines. Who's against it? Who's against it? The United States, UK, all of its fucking allies. And so we wouldn't need the vaccine we wouldn't need more advanced vaccines. And Pfizer's like, we're gonna need a vaccine every year. We wouldn't need a vaccine every year if everybody did what Vietnam and China and Cuba have done. If you crushed the virus and annihilated the virus, you wouldn't need a vaccine every year. If capitalism and imperialism was crushed from the face of Earth, like China and Vietnam have done, you wouldn't need a vaccine for NFT, non-fungible token, Bitcoin, fucking GameStop stonks, neo-feudal post-capitalism. Because it would be a museum artifact, as it was in Hawaii, where there was 1 out of 99 chiefs. Even if you attempted to hoard anything, you were crushed. If you tried to move in the direction of hoarding wealth of any type, you were just like, you were restorative justice. You were restored with restorative justice to the state of indigeneity as a native Hawaiian. You just were brought back into the Hawaiian fold, which you can because you had a community, because there was no hoarding. Everything was given away. Everybody had all the food and all the housing. There was no like. Not absolute zero inequality, but there was like no lack of any basic need. There was no threat of coercion for due to lack of basic services for anything, right? Capitalism was non-existent. It's kind of like smallpox. It's like what smallpox, when you annihilate it. But America, the West, can never annihilate its diseased ideologies, its culture. It can't. It's like it's inherent to their being. I'm not saying that like the people that currently believe that can't change. They could, but these Western they're showing themselves again and 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 again that left to their own devices they will not. Right, and so anyway, this is kind of a longer discussion. But no, that's the way I like to think about it. No, it's Marx is only necessary if you allow your capitalism, if you allow your Roman imperialism strains to get out of control and fester and become capitalism. If you don't allow your culture to to grossly get out of control, you don't actually need Marx. You only need it as a critique of capitalism. But if it doesn't come to be, because you aren't living in an imperial, hierarchical, non-mutual, if you live in mutual respect with people to people, countries to countries, nations to nations, people of different ways living in equality and living in the land in equality, as the Turtle Island people had been doing, as the 56 ethnic regions for thousands of years in China had been doing, more or less, as the Vietnamese people had been doing, not imperfectly, but the times in which things got out of control, they were brought back into equilibrium before, things metastasized and became, the whole society was a giant cancer, which is what all the West is. This is a permanent cancer. It's a tumor. America is a tumor. You live in a tumor, 99% tumor with 1% healthy tissue. And then the 1% healthy teacher, the 1% healthy tissue gets shot by a fucking police officer. And then it's back to tumor for being a leftist, or rounded up, crushed by Captain America. So in Hawaii, it's really about restoring Hawaiian values, informed by the human technologies informed by the necessary vaccinations of the Marxism and updated information to know, because we have to know what we're fighting when we're fighting against the Western ways. And also internally, we have to know how to undo our own ways as part of it, right? Because actually, part of decolonizing is actually unlearning all of the other bullshit that goes along, and restoring the actual Hawaiian ways where we had no gender binary, right? It's not about creating a world in which where there are no gender binaries, and there is no LGBTQ plus discrimination. It's about restoring the Hawaiian ways, which didn't have that. Where it was completely normal. You could change genders as easy as changing clothes. They didn't even have a word for being gay or straight or lesbian, because it was not even a thing that would be a problem. You only have to define these things, because you have to separate the gay from the straight, and then put the gays in the fire or in the prison with Alan Turing. There's not even a word. There's a word for third gender, and it was a very honored thing to be. They're very important in the culture. As opposed, how are the people of third gender treated in America? Oh, they're not even acknowledged. How are they treated anywhere in the West? How are they treated in the UK? The West has never known a healed culture. It has lived in permanent trauma for hundreds, if not thousands of years. There has never been a healed. It doesn't matter how much therapy and how much healthcare you get, you can never be healed. You will always be a destroyed, broken person anywhere in the West. There's no therapy for the abuse that you take in the terror of losing your housing, your healthcare, and your position in an abusive hierarchical world from your capitalist boss. There is no therapy for the abuse that you take from your McDonald's manager. You are permanently broken in the West. So that's why in the Big Island, in Molokai, where there are 0 evictions. Let me say that one more time. There have been 0 evictions for 5 years. And before that, it was very much maintained. Even in the face of ongoing colonialism, even in the face of attempted occupation again and again and again by white capitalist wealth, the Hawaiians here have pushed them out. Not perfectly. We still have people that they're just still trying their best to get in. We still have to deal with American colonial structures. But the Hawaiians here in Molokai, they have been, not so much on Oahu and not on Maui, but here, they have been able to keep that out enough that Silver Spook Cooperative can actually operate and not fall apart like so many. I see a lot of leftist camps in America, and I see them falling apart. I don't want them to fall apart. I want the leftists who are building actual dual power in what calls itself the United States, the disgusting fucking tumor that is the United States. I would love more healed tissue and camps, commune organizations to function, but I keep seeing them fall apart. Part of why you fall apart is because you have to recognize they don't recognize the level of damage that you are in. You're surrounded by fucking cancerous legions. The government itself, the police that are around you, the fascists that are in your neighborhood. I mean, there's one camp where there's like Nazis right across the goddamn street, attacking, killing their animals. The tumor in your own mind. I changed my bio. I watched some YouTube videos for 6 months, a year. Oh, now I'm all fixed. You're not fixed. I'm not fixed. I went to fucking stormtrooper training facility for fucking 12 years of my life. It's called a private American school. Public school is cancer school. That's where you're built. Were you abused as a child? You had to have been. Were your parents abused by their bosses? They were. Nobody is fixed. And if you don't recognize how unfixed you are. Oh, well, I read some Marx or Kropotkin. I've been a leftist for 5 years. You only started doing rehab. You will, that's the way I often put it. I will never be as revolutionary as Luna is. And I will never be close to what my children are. Because I grew up as a stormtrooper, like you did. You speak English? Are you from a Western country? You're a stormtrooper. You're a broken human being. You have to say, I'm a broken human being. And I'm unlearning things. I'm slowly healing from this. But it's gonna be very difficult. And if I start a camp with a bunch of people, if one of them wants to go on FedTube and have a $5,000 Patreon making fucking YouTube videos, you're all fucked. Because they're gonna sell y'all out the second that shit gets hot, which it will, because you're in the middle of a fucking tumor. If you're in the United States of America. Is anyone in your organization an American? You're already fucked. If you haven't deeply undone the structures embedded in your psyche at a nostalgia level that are extracted, I can feel it in my mind every second of the day. When I'm looking at how much money we have, how much we're making, what could I do with this? What could I do with that? Every moment of your life, you're libidinally, you're socially, psychologically, you're in terms of the way that you were brought up. If you're abused as a child, Hawaiians didn't spank or hit or anything as a child for children. If you're talked down to as a child when you were a child, that's not how you're supposed to talk. It's not how Hawaiians talk. Hawaiians treat the keiki, children, as full human beings. Were you treated as less than a human being? You are already broken. Were you at all violated as a child? Were you hit, abused physically, emotionally, psychologically? Were you did your parents disown you for any reason because you were left, because you were trans, gay, anything? You are already, you have suffered, but you have also become that which is the broken thing. There is decades of work in that for me, and I know this, there's decades of work to heal that. The fact that we have been in a place that is it's not as healed as somewhere like Vietnam or Cuba, but the fact that we have been able to be in this more healed place, not struggling, freaking out, worrying about money, not thinking about how we can make this and that or career, not able to even get away from a boss, abusive parent. When you are abused, you are imbibing, you are burying in your core memories the structures of the abuser. Whether that's your parents, whether that's your boss, teacher, president, mayor, the landlord. Do you have a landlord? You are in an abusive relationship. Have you encountered police? You already are broken. So if you don't recognize that deep structural level, have you watched any American television? Did you go to a public, private, or non-profit or charter school in America or anywhere in the West? You already have 12 years K-12 brain poison. Did you go to American University? You're already broken. Every single one of those traumas is not undone by reading a fucking Marx, a Kropotkin, a Posadist, watching some YouTube. I mean, it's great. That doesn't undo it. If you don't recognize that, you will destroy any dual power you create. And that's why I watch this happen. I watch this happening again and again, and I look at why did it fall apart? Why did it fall apart? Why did it fall apart? Oh, somebody went back. They got 10,000 on their Patreon. They started making money. Somebody took that and they started making a craft brewery because they were still capitalists and they were hiring $3 an hour, and we'll call ICE Hispanics, to make their craft brewery for the San Franciscan upscale hipsters, calling themselves a communist content creator. Oh, I see. That person that wasn't. Oh, now they're just selling out. Oh, some of them were still on the trail, but one of them fucking sold all of their comrades out at their little commune to the FBI. Oh, these people were doing pretty good, but then somebody became an abuser, broke the whole thing up because they were repeating their parents' they were repeating their parents' father abusing wife, father abusing child into the communal family, the found fictive kin of the leftist anarchist family, somewhere in the outskirts of, Maine or Washington. And they recreated their abuse, not even realizing it. They recreated the Western imperial, because the first education you get is when you're 0 years old in the womb. The first education you get is how your mother and your father or your parents are with you. How are they with you when you're 5 years old? Are they beating you? You're already being made into a barbarian. You're already being made into, you know? And people that don't realize it, and they're like full-on leftists, many of them trans, leftist, radical, anarchist comrades, recreating the abusive structures of their own families unbeknownst to them, destroying everything that they had spent years building, again and again and again and again and again. This is why I will never lead anything, you know? I can only tell you these things, and then, you know, there's a place, but for all these people, and there's space for this action, but it really even more so requires people go to the indigenous cultures, the parts of wherever there is a healed part in the giant cancer that is the entire Western world. Finding those core places and expanding from there is really critically important. And, you know, this is why I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make it seem hopeless, you know, but if you do not recognize how the depth and the level of instilled West, not just capitalism, it transcends that. Again, it is not the norm in the human species to have parents treating children as subhuman objects, that's the norm, right? Even for liberals, when I say come, you come. That is that, you know, treating children as like the dogs, like training them like that. Conservative, it's like physical beating, neocon, quiverful movement. The right-wing Christianity in the West is absolutely Adrian Zen's. It's telling that everybody identifies with them. I think partly because that's the way that people treat children in the West. All of that parenting structure is part of producing an extractive, dominational, exploitative, gaslighting adult. Not just the economic structure, the physical, emotional, the lack of the skin to skin, treating your children like animals produces barbarians. And they can dress very nicely, they can look like liberals, they can look like leftists. And then when they recreate their familial structures, and then they come in with their anti-capitalism, with their anarchism, and then they reproduce. When they acquire the power, when they acquire the structure, they reproduce the same abuses, because they haven't recognized that that's part of your education, is the way that your parents, your family, everyone has treated you. The way that your community has treated you is part of your education. It's not just what you intellectually know in your head to be true, an X and Y theorem, and the means of production owned by the private owner paying a wage and extracting the labor value as profit from the worker. That's important. That's only the beginning of actual whole education. This is the way the Hawaiians treated education. It's not just about you. It is inseparable. The way that we eat, the way that we dance, the way that we love. The luau is eating, it's food preparation, it's culture, it's song, it's dance, it's history, and it's politics and it's economics all in one. Everyone cooks food, right? And as I bring up, this will be, you know, we cook food, we harvest it, we put it together. It doesn't matter if you bought 10,000 fish or 10 fish. It all goes into one under the ground earth oven. It's cooked, and then after the cooking is done, the next day it is distributed by the most able to the least able, to the keiki, to the children, to the grandparents, to the adults. There is no separation between academic education, being a community, sociology, the study of the interaction of human beings with each other. There's no separation between parenting, sociology, eating, culinary arts, history, all these things. They are all together entwined as one. Partly because that's how you create holistic, completely fully healed human beings. If you only treat the academic symptoms of an imperialist mind, you know, of a barbarian mind, of a broken, extractive, fight or flight filled mind, you only instill economics theorems and even history. You haven't treated the entire person. You have a stormtrooper who's read some Marx. Anyways, that's a long point. So anyway, that's not to say that there is important work that can be done and will be done, and it is not impossible for unhealed people to work together to try to heal, but it is dangerous if they don't realize how unhealed those people are. And that's why you see again and again, oh my God, even in my indigenous community, these abusers popping up, and it's important at least that it's recognized, but the fact that these are even recognized is at least a step. But why again and 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 again do these things happen, and these things and a lot of these movements fall apart, is because people don't recognize where they are and the level of, and and so I say I will forever be half stormtrooper because of my upbringing. There's a meme going around. It's like Thanos, right? And Gamora is asking like, what do you have, right? Do you speak English fluently? And Thanos is like, yes. And then she's like, what did it cost you? And Thanos says, my mother tongue. There's a science fiction story that's specifically about that. And that is how it is. I am fluent in English, I'm fluent in English, in pop culture of the West, in science fiction and cyberpunk. I know all the if you've played Neofeud, I know all the science fiction, the Terminator, the Blade Runner, the Ghost in the Shell references. I know all of the dead old white guys. I know all the Hobbes and the Leviathan and the Voltaire. What did it cost me? It cost me everything. It cost me my Hawaiianness. That's what it cost me. That's actual genocide. It cost me the language that could have made me into somebody who understood what it means to be in Aloha Ana Kuleana Pono fully. I can never fully understand that. I'm 38 years, I can regain parts of what was lost, that was destroyed in me by the United States of America, but I will forever be, somebody who was trained in that. And it's important. I can be a bridge for many people to be like, this is, because I still was raised in Hawaiian culture, so I haven't lost all of the Hawaiianness. My parents still had enough of it in them, even through the colonial structures that they still fed the children and the disabled and the least abled first. They still did the things that Hawaiians did, even through the colonial abuses, the trauma for generations of generations living in the ghettos. My parents are third generation ghettoized Hawaiian mixed. Parents are plantation workers, everything, slave workers ripping their fingers up in pineapple fields, doing the laundry of rich white people. Even through all of that colonial trauma, they still have, my mom still carry through some of the Hawaiian culture. So I have enough of that. There's enough of the Hawaiian there, but so much of it has been destroyed from us. That's the actual genocide of the United States, of the Native Hawaiian people, on top of the physical genocide with the police murders. But that's the cultural annihilation. I will forever be that which never learned my language when I'm still learning, and I'm trying to learn more of it. I try to share as much as I can of it, but I will forever be half stormtrooper. And so will you. You speak English as a first language, you already lost. We already half lost. It's not hopeless, but we can work together to fight, but we have to recognize that we have a place that bridges these worlds. That we know where the reactor cores of the Death Star is. We know how these capitalist worlds function. I know how these things. That's why I can make Neofeud. And we can move people towards the side of the Rebel Alliance, to put it in some ways. But I recognize that if there is a true Rebel Alliance in Hawaii, it is my children. That's the most revolutionary thing that we can do, is actually raise our kids in full, healed, actual socialism. As Ho Chi Minh said, to create socialist human beings, to have socialism, you need socialist human beings. You need 100 million of them in a society of 100 million people. How many Americans have been raised fully in total socialism, in full non-extractive relationships? How many? Basically zero. How many have watched billionaire philanthropist Arms do the Playboy and have that built into their nostalgia? How many people have played StarCraft? How many people have watched Star Wars? How many have watched all of the American propaganda and have that built into their nostalgia? And they can't even make jokes without referencing imperial propaganda. Basically everyone. If you make a joke in China, you're making a joke about My People, My Homeland, which is a movie about poverty alleviation. In America, you have Sorry to Bother You. That's all you got. And then you have some books by some old dead white guys, refracting the shadow of indigenous actual socialist existence. And so to really, it's part of why a lot of the places that try to do this, they fail. They become sock them, they fuck it up, they go back into Western ways, they fall apart, And part of the reason why you fall apart is because, they say like do the work. Like that's one line in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Do the work. You have to do the work. The work is not read White Fragility. The work is not I read Marx and Kropotkin. The work is not I watched 10 YouTube videos about socialism. The work is not even I read it's important to read the history. The work is not I read history. I know the history of the colonial era. I know the history of capitalism in all these places. That's just the beginning of the work. The work is undoing decades upon decades of brain poison, your parents' abuse, your landlord's abuses, every boss that ever abused you, all of your romantic and aromantic relationships, all of your friendships, everything that you know, all of your pop culture that you have ever experienced, questioning every single inch of it, all of the games, all of the movies, all the TV shows, every news report you've ever read, your libidinal connection to imperialism. And then you can never heal that as long as you're in it, really, ultimately. You can harm reduce, you can fight against it. You may fight a necessary fight to bring about the collapse of the largest empire the world has ever seen. But, it will be in the context of being a broken human being. If you speak English, Spanish, German, or French, you're a broken person. I'm so sorry, there is a place for us, but it is going to be, of course I could be super wrong. And like America is tomorrow, like 180 million white people are going to turn around and just like be really, really good. And we're going to avert nuclear war. Maybe tomorrow we're going to turn around and everybody who has grown up being abused, fretting about where they're going to pay their rent this month, stabbing each other in the back, thinking like a capitalist, they're just going to turn around and they're just all going to be good. Everyone who is abused by their bosses and their landlords, abuses that are traumas so deep by their own parents, in traumas so deep that they don't even realize it. Maybe they're just going to maybe they'll magically undo that and not reproduce patriarchy, abusive familial relationships, abusive communes, hierarchies within their groups. And they're not going to sell out their friends to the FBI, to COINTEL, to the police, to Biden's Falcons and Winter Soldiers that are going to come for all your flag smashers. Maybe America will just get its shit together real fast. And I'm way off base. But, I don't think so. I think it's going to require the help of many more people that are much more healed than America, the entire West can ever be. It's going to require a lot more help. And, it's like we have to be willing to accept that help. We can't be sitting around going, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna, it's like I'm not throwing shit at anarchists, but anarchists, socialists, leftists, whatever your commune is, when your commune can provide COVID vaccines to 4 billion global South people that can't get it, then your power is getting closer to where you need to be. When you can get food, healthcare, housing, clothing, and structures, electricity, and systemic, sustainable, long-term economies, lifting people out of poverty by the billion, then you're getting there, right? Until then, you have important work to do. It is important. That's why anarchistic work is actually, in a certain sense, can be more important in Western societies, because much more has to be undone than, but it will be very difficult to build, and while these things are being undone, all the alternate power structures have to be built up. But it is going to be those who are capable of building sustainable ecological ways of being, which are disproportionately going to be indigenous peoples. That's why you have to be for land back, and remaining in close self-examination and self-crit all the time. Because again and again, and I'm saying I don't want to call out any specific camps, communes, dual power structure. Some of them are indigenous backed, some of them are black, and brownback. Some of them were LGBTQ plus centered. Some of them were just, anarchists or Marxist-Leninists projects trying to build dual power that have just collapsed. And I don't want to call out. I don't want to, because that's not what this is about. That would be very Western of me to just to put everybody's drama on blast. That's not what we're here for. But from what I have observed of these ones that are falling apart, these are the reasons why. We at Silver Spook Cooperative have to recognize this. We could at any second fall apart because I am leading the cooperative in a way that is making it into an extractive domination, self-aggrandization scheme for me, and so I don't want that. I am kind of like the face of it, and that that's the thing that's important. Holly doesn't want to be on cameras. I have ability to speak in this. I've been doing this. I've been teaching, and I was not very good at speaking before. I'll be honest, but I can do streams and do these kind of things. I have these skills, right? But at any second, I could become a mega. If like I said, if Social Games makes $2 million, and you see that I have a bunch of employees, and it's only me in yachts, and I don't know, or just me and Holly. I don't know. If it's like where's all the cooperative money going? If it's a cooperative, where are people being housed and being fed? Where is this helping? If you see Silver Spook Games selling 1 million copies of Neofeud or something, then I gotta bring out the goddamn guillotine, right? And everybody, wherever you are, you have to be aware that that's a thing that can happen, because you speak English. It's too late already. You speak in a broken language that has words like private property. It only means that it's domination of land. It has words like, in a sense, the words like separating into gay and lesbian and all these different gender. You've already caused schisms. Those words have baggage. Those words have loaded terminology. It's like the uses of these words, right? Interest, profit. The fact that you know these words, you've already broken your mind into divisions, artificial divisions in reality that have to be unlearned over time. You cannot speak English without speaking in hierarchy. You cannot speak English without speaking in exploitation. Each word, words are not dictionary definition. Words are constructed through the uses of them. If the usage of that word has centuries upon centuries of trillions of uses, each time it is said by one mouth and heard by another human ear, and written in a book and read on a broadcast to millions of ears, read by millions of eyes in a bestseller. Every time a word is used, it is both constructing the meaning, and it is also evolving that meaning, and it is constructing a new meaning, and it is referencing to a past meaning. And every time that those words have been used to dominate, to control property, land, real estate, title, profit, all these words, even the words that mean the genders and orientations in the language, these are all, at the end of the day, very much loaded with their imperial colonial pasts and their capitalist histories. On top of them just being used in terrible ways. And the slurs are just one thing. And English, that's another thing. Hawaiian and these other languages, they're not loaded with slurs. The fact that there are so many slurs, right, is the baggage of that entire life. It's like, oh my God, I can't even say barely any sentences without saying something that's very damaging to all these groups. That is the broken English language, Spanish language, French language. All the Chinese, Vietnamese, Hawaiian, they're not filled with slurs like this. That's part of your imperial. You can't speak the language. Right? It's like if you were to speak English in ways that with that had zero abuse and zero problematic aspects to it, you could barely say any words. You might be able to say like the, maybe. You could say the, and you start getting into pronouns, you're already broken. Hawaiian doesn't have pronouns for everything. It's not gendered everything. You can't speak English without getting into cis heteronormativity. You definitely can't speak Spanish. Yeah, and it's like, and so, so anyway, so that doesn't mean that English, now again, we're dialectical, so English is not permanently broken, right? Necessarily. Maybe 1,000 years from now, it'll be different. But, things that used to be extremely damaging, right? Are very much slurs. There are things that we don't realize. We're saying them now and they aren't now, but they once were. But it takes centuries. Anyways, but this is a lot of finer points. The Silver Spook Cooperative. Anyway, Neofeud is a game about all the things that I've been talking about. It is a game produced by myself. Holly Argent does a lot of important care work, which is modding work, and does a lot of work with the Kiki, with education. As I said, our kids just passed. We just finished our important testing that we have to do for the Imperial Occupying State of Hawaii's U.S. Regulations. And that was part of our part of the care work that we do. We share the care work, but Holly does a lot more of it, definitely. And all this work and the positive synergy, Kama also does a lot of important work maintaining the structures and helping with. Is currently painting the Silver Spook Cooperative, which is another important work that has to be done as well. And all work is treated equally. Voice acting and QA work is treated exactly the same as in artificial intelligence programming and 3D art, which is I do a lot of that kind of stuff, but that work is not, again, the person who fished 10,000 fish or the person who fished 10 fish doesn't matter. We don't privilege certain work. We don't, you have a PhD, you have fancy, so your work is worth 10,000, 200, 50,000. No. You have a BA in computer, you have a computer science degree. I mean, some people, if you're in a capitalist society, you have to make enough to pay back the degree and stuff, but we don't privilege any work above any work else. That's part of getting past the flag smasher problem. Is all labor is not it's not unskilled. It's not migrant labor. Migrant labor is labor. It's labor of somebody that moved, but those human beings are equal to the human beings in the place where they are. And so, and then again, we're trying the best that we can. But anyway, at the Silver Spook Cooperative, the Silver Spook Hui, which is a word in Vietnamese and Chinese that means, it's actually, it's pronounced more like Hui. That's what Luna said, but it means the same thing. A group of people working together to produce a fish pond, produce a kalo patch, to do Hawaiian agriculture here, to do Vietnamese kalo. They actually have the same plant there in Vietnam and in Southeast China. It's a Chinese have the same word, hui. It means a cooperative group of people working together with for mutual benefit to complete project. Again, there is no word that means capitalist business. There's no word that means feudal lord operation. There's no word. This doesn't exist in the West. Steward is the closest, and that's a derogatory term in the West. But in Chinese, in Vietnamese, and Hawaiian, there's this word. In much of the Pacific, the word hui exists. Commonly used term. Anyways, we'd have to invent terms later on. Let's do a socialism. Worker cooperative. No, this is existent for thousands of years. Anyways, the Silver Spook Hui and the cooperative, we produce anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-racist games such as Neofeud, and we'll play the trailer for that shortly. All the sales of this, again, go to benefit everybody here at the Silver Spook Cooperative, where there are no bosses and there are no landlords. And if you like science fiction, cyberpunk, and all of that all of that sort of genre, and you like adventure games, point-and-click adventure games, it's kind of like, imagine Taika Waititi directing a point-and-click adventure version of cyberpunk. It's kind of what the humor is very similar, in that it's poking fun at a lot of the tropes and satire, but also has very serious parts dealing with very serious topics of police murder, social, political, economic inequality, the military and police industrial complex, etc., etc., etc. And I'll play the trailer very shortly, and then we'll be gone.
The Illuminati created us. They wanted to build a god with their own hands, and instead they created us.
Just because I'm made of silicone and aluminium, I must be doing something wrong. That's machine stereotyping, that is.
That's reality, that is. Machines are second-class citizens.
Humans are sentient persons by default, ma'am. They have personhood by heredity.
There are thousands upon thousands of overqualified slum dwellers. You are my peon. Don't you get it?
This wasn't a job. It was always just an excommunication sentence.
We're pawns in a feud bigger than we can imagine. Turn the cogs of the machine before Leviathan grinds you up and swallows you and yours.
We don't get to choose our hand, comrade. Prince, peon, rich, poor, human, robot.
I invented the crux of the royal's power, the secret to consciousness, our existence itself, the meaning of life.
I'm the $6 billion baller. Not some troubled youth.
You are my greatest creation of all.
I had to build my own family. I hate your son. I hate your son.
I'm happy to smash all of the crowns and throw the gold shards down to the people. I will be the iconoclast queen.
But who makes you queen anyway? You? You in whose army, princess? You in whose army?
All right. Anyways, so that's that is Neofeud. You can find Neofeud on Steam at you can find Neofeud on Steam and on itch.io. It is a dystopic cyberpunk adventure game in the vein of Blade Runner with an overlay of Game of Thrones like political intrigue. Anyways, you saw it with the trailer. It is a game that is supporting everything that we do here at the Silver Spook Cooperative, the Silver Spook Hui. It is a game that is a game which, if you leave it a very short review, even any kind of review, but short, long, it really does help increase the likelihood that the game is discovered. We don't get any favors done. As a small indie indigenous made game, it doesn't get any help from any algorithms generally, but if you leave a review, it does increase the likelihood that it will be recommended to people when they turn on Steam and they're more like this and in their front page. It is similar to Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium, they thank Mark Sankropakin. I want to be clear. I'm not throwing shade at Mark Sankropakin. You know, it did what they had to do under the circumstances that they were given. And they thank Marx and Engels, the creators of Disco Elysium. And Neofeud is very much a game that there's always a Karl Marx quote in a Silver Spook game somewhere. And I'm not you looking in the first 5 minutes of Terminus Machina. There's a Karl Marx quote. The system contains within it the seeds of its own destruction. That happens in the first 5 minutes of my Deus Ex Total Conversion. In Neofeud, there's a character literally reading Das Kapital in the game. It's the homeless, transgenic, college, underemployed college professor, the crab girl. But anyways, if you have a second to leave even a very short review, it's greatly appreciated. Also, thanks a lot to. Oh, here's another one. You see, I'm telling you, Neofeud is like basically a degree in leftism. Neofeud explored the depths that make up our capitalist reality, and I found the game to be a multi-dimensional representation of Marx's Das Kapital. It is received as a labor of love, one that speaks to the cultural references of our generation. Anyways, more relatable, interactive, more fun, less dry Das Kapital. That's basically Neofeud. That's Sayama's words. Sayama is like basically the god or goddess of leftism. I may have slightly stretched that last bit. Anyways, you can also find Neofeud on Steam and itch.io for Windows, Mac, and Linux. It is for you can get Neofeud with DRM free if you don't like digital rights management. You can also get Neofeud without installing Steam if you don't want to do that for whatever reason. And again, you know, I threw a lot of shit at a lot of people, but I want not to do shit. It's kind of intense, but we have to do what we have to do under the circumstances that we are in. I don't begrudge or get mad at people for using. We have to use the platforms that we have to use in the situations that we have to use them, and we have to do what we have to do that we can for all of us. So, but if you want to get it on itch, you can get it there. If you want to support us, we do need money to survive. We don't have money, even on the Big Island. You know, you still need some money. You don't need as much, but you need some because you can't get electricity and internet with
bananas. You know, like it doesn't work, or you don't give it away for free. Although housing is not held over your head, I will say that. Is creating us. You can also help us out at patreon.com/Neofeud to help us with our to maintain our house. This costs money. We just also transportation is very expensive. We had to spend a whole bunch of money to make sure we can keep getting clothes and food and the material things we need. Water. We have to drive to get our water and stuff. So we do need a vehicle. So we did have to spend like a whole bunch of money on that. And so any support that you give does help the Silver Spook Cooperative to grow. Potentially one day, I mean, again, we don't judge anybody. If you're from wherever you're from, as long as you are, you know that you are, don't disrespect the native Hawaiian and indigenous peoples that are illegally occupied by the U.S. Empire here in the Hawaiian Kuleana Pono. You live by Hawaiian values. We will accept, we've accepted other people into the Silver Spook Cooperative that were not, even from Hawaii or Hawaiian. We don't want a bunch of racist white people though. That's for sure. Interrogate that shit before you get here. You can, okay? But yeah, you can support what we do here at patreon.com/Neofeud. It is a you can also help us out. You can follow at SilverSpookGames at octodon.social. At SilverSpookGames at octodon.social. This is Mastodon is a decentralized, federated, non-capitalist controlled social media platform, which is like Twitter but with a smaller, with no billionaire and giant corporations and Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier's friends in Wall Street and DC manipulating everybody's brain every second of the day with a hyper endorphin releasing self-righteous indignation feuds, as well as with deleting black and indigenous people's tweets, shadow banning Black Lives Matter, pushing left down, pushing up liberal blue check marks, and propagating lies like Juan Guaido had 100% support and is the legitimate head of Venezuela, which is something that literally was the flag, the number one topic in Twitter multiple times. So anyways, so there's nothing like that on Mastodon. It's not perfect, but it's less corporate manipulation and it's not a capitalist platform. So it does not have the reach, however, right? And so we have to be dialectical and nuanced about this. It doesn't have the reach of Twitter, so you can also follow us on Twitter, where there's more people. I wish there was more people on Mastodon, but there aren't. You can follow us on Twitter at SilverSpookGuy, where I throw shade at imperialism and colonialism, and I'm often talking to Luna Oi because Luna has all the best, most base takes, being from fucking actual communist Vietnam, or with the actual communist party and socialism. So you do follow Luna Oi as well, but you can also follow at SilverSpookGames, minus the E in silver. SilverSpookGames is my game-related stuff. You can find Neofeud 2 when Neofeud goes on sale. Terminus Cyberstar. Here's some screenshots from this. Oh yeah, check out my friend. Congratulations to Vesela Cobb, also known as Tali, director of Umurangi Generation, which is a game, and also to Umurangi Generation's other creators, which is an indigenous created game in the indigenous Maori style, indigenous made cyberpunk-ish game about living in a shitty colonized future. It's a very anti-colonial game. I just recently played it on stream. I really like it a lot. I recommend that one. Also, so you can follow Silver Spook Games. You can also follow at Terminus C. Terminus Cyberstar is a low-poly cyberpunk immersive sim in the vein of late 90s PC games such as System Shock 2 and Deus Ex 1. Terminus Cyberstar is a game that's being myself and a handful of other creators, including my friend Aaron Victoria. It is a sequel to Terminus Machina. It is a 3D cyberpunk RPG. This is some screenshots from this game. I am the content director / lead writer, so it is very political. I don't make apolitical games. I'm too Hawaiian for that. And so it's a game that you can follow here, and you can check out the Discord on the Terminus Cyberstar Twitter page there. If you want to join the Discord and talk to the devs. Also, I would like to thank all of these people here. David James Wheaton, Mink Zilla, Mr. Brewer, Belinda Ann Taylor, Kiara Kababar, Industrial Robot, Johnny C, Alana Montero, Sean Conlon, Danny Carroll, Eric Wright, JR, Morgan Swancroft, DeReaver, Tyler Tato, Right 55, Matthew Stone, Alexander Roy Gabriel House. I saw Matthew Stone in the chat. Thanks a lot for hanging out, Matthew Stone. Alfonso De Lazar, Combo Breaker, Lark, Miro, Skylar Smith, Tim, Kabuto Zux, Raf, Tiny Earl, Michael McAllister, Extremely Online Left, Ted, Churlington, Beastcoat, Dename Paname, Adam M. Smith, no relation to Adam Smith, Mr. Capitalism, Captain Capitalism, almost as unbased as Captain Colonialism and Captain America, but Matthew Cabrera, thanks a lot. I will look at the chat before we go. What? Oh, yeah. Yeah, check it out. Thanks a lot, Della. Thanks, everyone, hanging out. At least EJ can finally pronounce. That's pretty funny. Yeah, the streaming schedule is, don't forget, not 10 p.m. PDT. Wednesday, Twitch starting at 9 p.m. PDT. Saturday, YouTube starting 1:30 PDT. And then Twitch starting at 9 p.m. PDT. Anyways, we will be back sometime in the evening very soon. Hey, thanks a lot, Andrew. Thanks a lot for hanging out for a little bit. This stream is a little bit more political than the game, even though the game does have some politics. But until next time, keep your mirror shades polished. 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 Be excellent to each other. You know, you watch entertaining movies, but just be careful. When you live in the empire, you're gonna have imperial propaganda, and be sure to be critical of that. Be against all these terrible imperialist wars, and keep fighting the good fight for all of our comrades around the world.